joining us. And you're seeing on the screen this dark screen with a blinking light. This is a view from the International Space Station looking at Dragon as Dragon is getting closer and closer to the station.
Voilà, et bien bonjour à tous, j'espère que vous allez bien. Pour ma part ça va super bien. Aujourd'hui on se trouve du coup pour le petit live sur le docking de Thomas Pesquet. Alors on ne parlera pas non plus de l'heure à laquelle j'ai commencé le live par rapport à l'heure qui était prévue. Voilà, on ne parlera pas de ça.
To ensure that both the station and Crew
On n'est pas
Dragon
content de
are
leur son parce qu'on n'entend pas beaucoup.
with opening the hatches before the crew can ingress. So crew ingress to the station will happen approximately 2 hours after docking is complete.
Elle ne parle pas très fort la dame, en tout cas. Mais bon. Donc là on peut voir la capsule Crew-2. C'est dommage que ce soit de nuit pour le moment, et peut-être que dans quelques minutes, là, peut-être que quand ils se dockeront, il fera...
Again, Dragon is getting very close to the station, but these are some precise maneuvers that it does need to make. Despite how close it is to the station, we want to make sure that we are checking in on both vehicles each step of the way to ensure the safety of both vehicles throughout this entire process prior to docking, prior to Crew Dragon docking with the space station.
Comparé à hier, c'est vraiment très... Voilà, bien sûr, elle parle plus.
Views of Dragon should get a little bit lighter.
C'est bon, parfait.
And we should be able to see Dragon clearly as it makes its way to, or crosses, rather, waypoint 0. What you're seeing now are the navigation lights on Dragon. The blinking is the navigation light you can see on the forward end of Dragon, exposed by the open nose cone. And you can see the green and red lights there. Green denoting the starboard side and red denoting the port side, so the view you're seeing is an upside down view. Again, Dragon is approaching from underneath the station and will swing up and out in front of it to align with the docking axis at the forward port of the International Space Station.
Donc bien sûr, ça risque de mettre
when we say beneath, we're talking about basically between the Earth and the space station.
Right.
And when it swings up and out in front of the docking port, it will be adjacent to the station.
Dragon SpaceX for Dragon Eye status.
Go ahead, SpaceX.
All right, Megan, for awareness, we may lose Dragon Eye convergence prior to or during approach 0. If we were to lose Dragon Eye convergence prior to approach 0 starting,
the station.
And if we lost Dragon Eye convergence during approach 0, we would temporarily transition to approach 0 coast. And then if this happened, it would result in onboard alerts. How copy?
We copy all.
Ils viennent juste de corriger...
The Dragon Eye system mentioned on board Crew Dragon is an optical navigation system that measures the vehicle's relative position for precision approach and docking. So the data we're seeing of Dragon's distance from the station and its rate of approach, partially coming from those Dragon Eye systems.
Là, ils viennent tout simplement te dire que le dragon est en approche de la station. Donc pour l'instant il n'y a pas de problème ni de choses on va dire très intéressantes.
The Corps mentioned a slew maneuver as Dragon approaches waypoint 0. That's expected here in about 2.5 minutes. It'll help to align and converge with waypoint 0 directly below the International Space Station.
Donc normalement le Crew-2 devrait arriver vers 11h. Donc on espère en plein jour. Normalement ça devrait être bon, je vais juste voir où est l'ISS actuellement. Donc l'ISS du coup est juste à côté du Crew-2.
And wow, we've got a very close-up view of the International Space Station from Dragon.
Donc là c'est une vue du Dragon.
And you can see how close we're getting. Again, this is from below the station, meaning between Earth and the station. And now we have some internal views of Crew Dragon.
International Space Station is now 260 statute miles over Panama, close enough to pass over the ground stations over the Cape in Florida, providing some of these incredible views from Dragon.
Vous pouvez vous rendre compte que d'une
Crew is in their suits and seats, patiently waiting as Crew Dragon approaches the International Space Station, which is what you're looking at on your... And you can see how close we're getting. Again, this is...
Voilà. Donc là, vous pouvez voir que c'est le même interface qui est utilisé pour sur le site de la simulation de docking de SpaceX. Donc c'est le même interface. De toute façon, le jeu se veut réaliste. Ça c'est la Terre, ça prend. Il y a des gens qui savent m'expliquer, ça serait cool. Parce que ça, j'avoue que moi je sais pas trop ce que c'est. Parce que ce n'est pas la trajectoire. Elle ne fait pas ça.
Dragon's approach to waypoint 0 coming up in about a minute.
C'est bizarre. Donc là une vue de l'ISS, à mon avis il doit faire des corrections.
The lights from the outside of the International Space Station illuminating the radiators. Those are those long rectangular shapes you're seeing coming down at the bottom of your screen. Almost directly below the International Space Station at waypoint 0, 30 seconds and counting.
And we did hear the Corps mention that they will not stop at waypoint 0, so they will just pass through this checkpoint.
Donc on peut voir pour le moment qu'ils n'ont pas leur visière de fermer car ils vont le faire quand ils seront un peu plus près. Parce que pour l'instant ça ne représente pas un risque de collision énorme. Et l'ISS est actuellement au-dessus du Mexique, de Cuba actuellement, près de la Floride. Est-ce que ils vont passer au-dessus de la France? Oui, ils vont passer au-dessus de la France.
Okay, and we have confirmation we just passed waypoint 0. The surface section Draco thrusters fired to converge with the approach maneuver to meet up with waypoint 1. That'll be directly in front of the International Space Station. So now we're making our way now, not officially behind the station, making our way in front of the station.
Dragon SpaceX on the big loop. Approach 0 is in progress and the trajectory has converged on waypoint 1. Expected arrival at waypoint 1 at 0845.
D'accord, donc là ils sont en train de dire ouais, vous devrez arriver dans pas longtemps en gros. Du coup, il devrait arriver au-dessus de l'Angleterre, des Pays-Bas et tout, du Danemark et de la France.
And as expected, as we pass waypoint 1, we're starting to get some of the sun illuminating the station. Hopefully we'll still continue to get some of these views from the cabin and from the exterior of the Dragon looking up at the International Space Station as we pass into an orbital sunrise over the Atlantic Ocean. Now 261 statute miles over the Caribbean. Again, we passed waypoint 0 and initiated an approach maneuver, approach 0, firing Dragon's service section Dracos to align and converge with waypoint 1 being directly in front of the International Space Station. From this view, it's at the top of your view. That's where the international docking adapter is. You can sort of make it out now that the sun is illuminating the station itself. So that approach maneuver was successful, and Dragon itself converged onto waypoint 1. We did get a word from the ground teams here that the intent is to proceed past waypoint 1, so once it's directly 220 meters in front of the International Space Station, it will not pause. It will continue to move inside the keep-out sphere, which is about 180 meters away from the station, and it will continue on to waypoint 2 at 20 meters. At 20 meters, it will pause and conduct a go-no-go poll to proceed past the waypoint 2 and in for a soft capture. Soft capture estimated less than 50 minutes from now at 2:10 a.m. Pacific time.
We have the sun shining very bright on the International Space Station right there.
Ouais, on peut voir, comme je l'ai dit, que le soleil,
we are entering sunrise, as Gary mentioned.
Ce qui est tant mieux. Et par contre, j'ai juste peur que s'ils mettent une vue de l'ISS, du coup, le soleil
as it's approaching the International Space Station. And it is moving from below the station or between Earth and the station towards being adjacent or in front of the station.
So hopefully continue to get these views for as long as possible. They are absolutely incredible. And then of course we have cameras on the International Space Station itself that'll be able to look at Dragon as it approaches the docking axis a little closer. Actually, yeah, we're getting some views even now as the Dragon's underneath and in front of the station.
Qui est assez proche puisqu'on commence à décerner un peu les détails quand même.
Waypoint 1 Dragon, you're seeing from this view here, will make its way into the docking axis directly in front of the International Space Station. That whole maneuver expected to take about 21 minutes from now. And again, the plan will be to, as of now, will be to proceed past waypoint 1 and pause at waypoint 2 about 20 meters.
Oula, ma voix, oula, ma voix. Donc là, on peut voir une vue du dragon. On peut voir qu'ils sont quand même très proches. Voilà, donc là, la vue du dragon. Oh. Si je me trompe pas, c'est la vue du dragon.
So as Dragon makes this maneuver, you were seeing mostly the nadir side, or the side of the International Space Station that faces the Earth. Now as we swing up in front of the station, you're starting to see more features, including some of the solar arrays, each of those arrays about the size of a basketball court. Those arrays will provide enough power for all of the equipment on board the International Space Station, including communications and navigation, and environmental control and life support equipment, as well as hundreds of experiments throughout the orbiting laboratory. Once Dragon docks to the International Space Station, an umbilical will be provided by the space station to provide power from those solar arrays to Dragon throughout its 6-month stay aboard.
Donc là, il devrait pas trop.
Gary, you're mentioning the size of some of the components on the space station, but the space station altogether, what we're looking at here is approximately the size of a football field, right?
That's right.
Fantastic
views from the International Space Station. You can see very clearly the Terminator line. So that's the line between light and dark now. That's over the North Atlantic Ocean. The International Space Station on a northeasterly course. It will cross over Great Britain when it gets over the Atlantic Ocean, over the pond to Europe. It will first cross over Great Britain.
Donc ça, par contre, je sais pas ce que c'est comme vue. Donc voilà, là, voilà, on a retrouvé le signal. Mais donc là, on peut voir du coup le soleil qui se lève.
More awesome views from the International Space Station, looking at Dragon
je sais
with
pas où ils sont là
Earth in the
actuellement,
background there.
Il y a que des nuages et de l'eau.
Dragon is currently swinging up to become adjacent to the space station, and it will be moving to be right in front of the docking port.
Donc là, ils vont arriver au-dessus de l'Angleterre,
right, just past the marker waypoint 0,
des Pays-Bas
that waypoint being directly below the International Space Station, where it executed an approach burn using the service section Dracos. That helped it to converge with that next waypoint right in front of the station. So now we're at a little more than 310 meters away from the station. As it makes its way up front, it will continue to get slightly closer. Waypoint 1 directly in front of the station is about 220 meters, so it'll get incrementally closer as it makes its way in front of the station.
Par contre, l'autre, elle doit être... je sais pas trop où elle est.
And these views from the space station look incredible. I can only imagine what the astronauts on board the station get to see with their own eyes. That looks amazing.
Parce que ça devait être vers 11h, mais j'ai l'impression qu'ils sont un peu en avance.
They had a lot of time in orbit. Of course, after an orbital insertion,
Donc après le docking,
9 minutes into the flight, and then spacecraft separation from the Falcon 9 that delivered Dragon into orbit, 12 minutes into the flight. For the most part, up until this point, they've been flying around the Earth. Had a couple of laps, couple of sunrises, and have been able to enjoy these views. Of course, there's a sleep period as well.
La station, je ne sais pas ce que c'est, ça de la station. Je n'arrive pas à savoir où c'est.
And now you can kind of see how Dragon is swinging up to be in front of the station, because now you can see a portion of the space station in the view.
That's right, these cameras on the truss segment of the International Space Station, so these cameras likely on the nadir side of the truss segment. As station makes its way up, as Dragon makes its way up to align with the docking axis, we may lose some of the views here, but there are cameras on the forward end of the International Space Station. They'll be able to pick up Dragon as it makes its way to align with the docking axis. Those cameras pointed straight ahead to monitor the operations just like this for the approach and docking of visiting vehicles. Teams will continue to evaluate the progress of Dragon's approach, making sure that all systems are go for approach and docking. Right now, we're still tracking a docking time at 2:10 a.m. Pacific time. That'll be 40 minutes from now.
C'est assez dommage parce que en fait,
so this will be the last pass over daylight. So for the remainder of our coverage until docking, as long as we proceed through these steps, nominally we should be able to see everything in an orbital daytime.
Mais en fait, tout simplement, il peut y aller. Ah d'accord, bon, comme ça c'est fait.
Just as a reminder, after Dragon docks from the station, it will take a little over an hour and a half to 2 hours for the hatches to open and for crew to ingress onto the space station. And this is another cool view from the, I believe this is the forward side of the International Space Station.
That's right, and those cameras on the truss segment, on the port truss of the International Space Station, what you're seeing, the features there are the Japanese robotic arm and the Japanese logistics model sticking up at the top of the Japanese experiment module that houses many of the experiments on board the International Space Station from the Japanese side. There's also an exposed pallet there. There it is at the bottom of your screen with additional experiments.
C'est un grenier et les Japonais sont les seuls
sort of see the Dragon out there in the distance. The cloud coverage over the North Atlantic Ocean as the Dragon makes its way up to the docking access.
Dans l'ISS, mais à la base, il n'a pas été fait pour ça. Et les Japonais ont été les seuls à avoir pensé à ça à la base. Donc il sert et il va servir oui, ça, il servira que ça. Salut, oh la Terre est plate. Ah ouais, là, non mais elle est super plate là, là le truc, waouh. Elle est super plate la Terre par contre. Dingue. Donc là,
Dragon's about 307
superbe vue
meters away from the station.
Du Dragon.
The plan now is to proceed past waypoint 1.
Le reconnais-tu? Je ne sais pas qui tu es, dis donc.
Waypoint 1 being 220 meters directly in front of the International Space Station, right in line with the docking axis.
Oh, c'est du lait.
When it starts to move in, it'll pass into the keep-out sphere. This is an imaginary line. Extends about 185 meters directly in front of the station. And there's new flight rules that come into play when Dragon makes its way inside the keep-out sphere. Victor Glover, who's monitoring from the station side, if he sees any anomaly with his data, has the ability to command an abort from the station side. But of course, an abort can be issued from inside Dragon as well, or from the ground. And of course, Dragon, once it reaches the docking axis, has about 20 hours of power. So it can hold there for quite some time and can reattempt to dock as necessary. But so far, things are looking pretty good for today, as we're tracking for a docking at 2:10 a.m. Pacific time.
Donc du coup, c'est bien ce que je me disais. Ils sont en avance. Parce qu'ils devaient arriver vers 11h30.
And again, a really cool view from the International Space Station looking at Dragon as it gets closer.
Donc là on voit les côtes,
it's currently swinging up to be in front of the docking axis, which will mean that Dragon will be...
Attendez, je vais vous dire.
Dragon SpaceX for approach 1 status.
C'est les côtes de quoi? C'est les côtes de quoi? On dirait la Floride, mais non, de Floride.
Alright, Shane, we are currently tracking the sun's relative position and how that is impacting our ability to monitor the retroreflectors with the Dragon eyes. We are going to make an assessment at approximately 110 meters to see if the sun's position will impact the Dragon eye convergence. If we deem that it might impact Dragon eye convergence, ground is going to command a hold. However, if at 110 meters, it is early enough where this will not be an issue, it will not impact approach 1, and Dragon will continue to waypoint 2.
On pourrait voir. Donc ça là, c'était l'Islande. L'Irlande. Et ça c'est l'Angleterre.
Okay, so what you just heard from there, first of all, down on the Earth, these beautiful shots, the International Space Station is just passing over Ireland. The body you see there is the United Kingdom. We're passing over Europe, and we're about to pass over the Netherlands and Germany as well. The calls you heard as we pass over
Thomas Pesquet est français et pour son docking, il passe près de la France.
These parts of Europe.
Je trouve ça
the sun itself will come up and behind the International Space Station.
Monitor approach per step 1 of 1.104. Crew Dragon approach and retreat monitoring.
Station copies and work.
Ok, donc là,
All right, now is Kathy Bolt, Capcom and Mission Control Houston. Victor Glover aboard the International Space Station, confirming he's standing by, monitoring Dragon's approach. So he'll be looking at the same telemetry that the ground teams are, and the crew aboard Dragon as well. Now, the call you heard from the core was once Dragon makes its way past waypoint 1, 220 meters in front of the station.
Dragon SpaceX on the big loop. Expect reconfiguration of the C2V2 return link shortly.
J'ai rien compris. Je suis désolé, j'ai rien compris.
All right, so once Dragon makes its way inside waypoint 1, the 220-meter mark crosses into the keep-out sphere. The ground teams will do an assessment at about 110 meters. See the position of the sun. The sun might be a little bit too far behind the space station at the time and interfere with some of the optical cameras, the optical equipment, navigation equipment, the Dragon eyes. So they'll do an assessment and may issue a hold if necessary, depending on the position of the sun and how they're interfering or how they affect the Dragon eyes. Also, they're going to check the C2V2 common communication for visiting vehicles. There's a link between the two spacecraft now. There's a C2V2 on Dragon and also on the International Space Station that provides telemetry. A lot of that telemetry is what Victor Glover aboard the station is monitoring using his rendezvous proximity operations panel.
Oui, je crois que ça, oui. C'est une image de Columbus. Donc là, on voit le sas d'amarrage. Et de l'autre côté, il y a le,
so all this coming up very soon.
Sas japonais Kibo.
Dragon inside 300 meters, 284 and closing. Again, 220 meters is the point where we meet up with waypoint 1 directly in front of the International Space Station that's expected to come up in a little less than 7 minutes.
Voilà. Donc là, on repart sur Kibo. Avec son bras japonais. Donc le bras japonais, hein, il sert juste pour faire sortir des expériences, pour manipuler des expériences qu'il y a sur le
Still getting great views. Those cameras trained, of course, on the star of today's show, the Crew Dragon. But we're still getting some glimpses of the Earth right underneath the station. 265 statute miles directly over Frankfurt, Germany, passing over Eastern Europe, and eventually we'll cross over the Black Sea.
Donc là, il vient de dire qu'on passe au-dessus de l'Allemagne. Il n'y a pas d'Allemand. Donc c'est dommage. Donc là, on peut commencer à bien voir les détails. Donc le nose cone, le dog d'amarrage, et on peut aussi commencer un petit peu à apercevoir l'emplacement des moteurs Super Draco. Dans les compas au-dessus de l'Allemagne. Alors, j'aime beaucoup parce que d'habitude, la NASA essaye de combler, et SpaceX essaye de combler leur live un maximum pour éviter que les gens s'ennuient, mais là ça fait 24 heures.
270 meters and closing. Crew Dragon expected to converge with waypoint 1 directly in front of the International Space Station in less than 5 minutes.
Bonjour. Voilà, oui, je suis sur YouTube.
You can see the views right over the shoulders of Commander Shane Kimbrough and pilot Megan MacArthur. Kimbrough on the left, MacArthur on the right. from that view.
Mais du coup, ouais, non, en fait,
from this view from the International Space Station, you can see what we were mentioning earlier, where Dragon was below the station.
On va bien
arriver
vers.
That previously, when it had Earth in the background, now it is almost adjacent, or almost in the same orbit as the International Space Station, as it's making its way to the docking axis at waypoint 1.
Ah, K. Je croyais que c'était pas quelqu'un d'autre. Ah, K, coucou. Je t'avais pas reconnu. Voilà. Donc là, on peut encore plus apercevoir les détails. Je ne sais pas combien de... Je ne sais pas combien de mètres ils sont. Mais ils sont pas très loin. Ah bah sympa. Bah oui, mais aussi bah ton nom, il est pas pareil. Moi j'ai l'habitude de AK ou alors de Elodie, ça bah je connais pas. Donc du coup j'ai ta chaîne YouTube, ça c'est cool. Donc là c'est une vue du dragon. Donc là, puis quand je vais montrer, il retire la vue. Bon, je vais montrer sur l'écran. Ici là. Donc ça, bah, c'est l'image de la station. Donc ici, c'est le Crew-2 qui est arrivé il y a quelques mois.
Inside Crew Dragon is in line with the position of where Dragon is relative to the International Space Station. It's almost at the docking axis, about 2.5 minutes to go until it converges with
qui est arrivé il y a quelques mois, enfin il y a 6 mois à peu près, et qui devrait rentrer
They aren't using those display panels to fly Dragon, they're just using them to monitor each step of the way.
Il faut bien que j'explique, parce qu'on voit, pour les gens qui ne connaissent pas. Voyons, donc oui. Oula, qu'est-ce que c'est?
Basically just patiently waiting until they dock with the station.
Pardon? Attendez.
Now seeing Dragon in a better view.
So the crew's basically just this maneuver from below the station to a few.
Je remets parce que c'était quoi ça?
Dragon is in line with the position of where Dragon is relative.
C'est un zoom?
To the International Space Station. It's almost at the docking axis, about 2.5 minutes to go.
Je vais remettre en direct après. Ah ok, oui, non.
And as a reminder, Dragon is flying autonomously, so they aren't using those display panels to fly Dragon, they're just using them to monitor each step of the way.
Parce que moi je vois un truc comme ça, je me dis mais qu'est-ce qui se passe?
At 110 meters as previously noted.
Ah, 10 mètres.
For awareness, if sunlight results in the loss of the Dragonite geofilters, Dragon will autonomously retreat back to waypoint 1, remaining on closed loop control using the time of flight filters. How copy?
Ah, blue screen. Erreur programme. Donc là, du coup, ils nous mettent une vue du centre de contrôle chez SpaceX, donc le Capcom. Alors SpaceX, du coup, comme c'est une entreprise privée, a une spécialité, c'est que le Capcom n'est pas un astronaute. Chez la NASA, chez l'ESA ou chez Roscosmos, le Capcom, c'est toujours un astronaute. Donc le Capcom est ici. Et pour les gens qui ne savent pas ce que c'est qu'un Capcom, c'est la voix qui parle aux astronautes, parce que si chaque personne devait parler aux astronautes, ce sera un enfer. Donc du coup, les personnes transfèrent les informations qu'elles ont au Capcom, et le Capcom transfère aux astronautes.
To waypoint 2, just 20 meters away from the docking axis. Of course, they'll be monitoring along the way.
Je suis désolé pour ma qualité. Hier, j'ai remarqué que si je voulais streamer en très haute qualité, j'avais de gros bugs et j'avais un décalage de 1:30.
On the space station, which will prevent
de 5 secondes.
Dragon from docking. If that does happen, Dragon will autonomously back out.
Donc là on voit le SpaceX, donc là on voit bien les détails.
To ensure
on voit même si je ne m'abuse, le logo NASA. Ici.
Because this is all autonomous, it uses
le logo de Dragon.
Some
et bien sûr,
cameras to align
plus, les drapeaux
with
américains.
the docking port. So it's really
Parce
important that we don't have
oublier
that
que Launch
sunlight
America et America
getting in the
et
way.
Blue Screen et America First.
On the big loop, sound check.
SpaceX has you loud and clear on the big loop. Helm me.
Ok, donc on a en fait ça. C'est juste que l'image est
We copied most of it, but you cut out towards the end there. I'm not sure if there's anything important for us.
Copy. I'm going to repeat the end of the call. We did have a TDRS handover. Just for awareness, following the lighting assessment, if we continue but sunlight results in a loss of the Dragon Eye geofilters, Dragon Eye will autonomously retreat back to waypoint 1, still on closed loop control using the time of flight filters. How copy?
Il y a un petit problème avec le focus là-haut. Donc là,
okay, we copy it all. Thank you very much for repeating.
Ce qu'ils ont dit.
No problem, Shane. And for awareness, the C2V2 link reconfiguration has been completed.
Ok.
Copy C2V2.
Je sais pas vers... en tout cas, c'est vers 11h, c'est sûr du coup.
And there, the Corps just
Vers
reiterated
11h, à mon avis,
that they will be checking to make sure that the sunlight is not in the way of the visual systems between Dragon and the space station. If that does happen, Dragon will autonomously
surtout sur le
retract
domaine spatial. Ah, du coup, toi
and
aussi,
wait
tu
until
as changé
we
votre
do
pseudo.
get some good visual views for the systems to
Donc là, on a une magnifique vue, du coup, avec un plus de soleil.
That's right, Crew Dragon resilience actually coming into view
de
clearer
l'ISS.
now from the
Comme
cameras
je vous
aboard
disais tout à
Dragon.
l'heure avec le Crew-1.
Zenith port.
La mission MS, je sais plus, je sais plus le nom de la
was
mission.
on the upper portion of the
Donc,
screen.
du coup, avec
That's right.
Progress.
Now again, to reiterate, Dragon has passed
Et
waypoint
il faut savoir
1,
aussi
220
que durant
meters
la
in front of the station,
la première mission de
executed a
Thomas
burn
Pesquet,
maneuver to go ahead and move it in. So
il
we're
avait
in
volé
approach
avec
1,
Oleg Nowitzki.
and it's heading towards waypoint 2.
Et là, en fait, il va le retrouver. Oleg est
Now
arrivé il y a
inside the keep out sphere.
il y a une semaine ou deux, je crois.
Currently in the process of
Donc ils vont
extending
faire,
a soft
ils vont faire
capturing that'll be
la
used
mission
to
ensemble.
dock to the international docking adapter of the forward port.
J'adore
We're
me
monitoring the
préparer
visual
en même
systems
temps.
of Dragon. It would
Ouais, c'est ça, en fait,
execute
je
an
meuble.
automatic
Je
retreat
suis un fond
if the
sonore
sun was interfering
pour des raisons
with the optical
professionnelles.
systems as it makes its way towards an approach.
Ah bah oui,
We're at
parce que
about
tu joues depuis
150
sur ta chatte,
meters away from the station.
Donc là, une très très belle vue.
And we have such a great camera view here.
Ouais.
You can really see the
Donc là, on voit
detail
le hatch,
on Dragon.
donc la porte avec
Again, those four
SpaceX.
bulkhead
Non mais à chaque fois que
thrusters.
je montre un truc, il coupe la caméra.
You could almost read the
Sérieusement.
logo, the Dragon
Ça, c'est
logo
la
on the
magie
side
sur
of the
YouTube, hein.
vehicle.
Dès qu'on fait un truc
That's right,
qu'on
we'll
est
get
filmé,
even
bah
better
non,
views as it
ça
makes
marche
its
pas.
way even closer to make contact and capture
Donc là, du
with the
coup,
space station.
donc là,
There it
normalement,
is.
Yeah, based on the
Voilà.
trajectory here,
donc là, du coup,
we
c'est les
may even
moteurs Super
anticipate
Draco
a
avec
capture a little
le
bit
logo
earlier
NASA.
than
Donc là, du coup,
anticipating. We were
c'est pas un logo NASA,
looking at about
c'est une
2:10
fenêtre. Voilà, je fais pause.
AM Pacific time.
Voilà. Donc là, il dézoome, bien
Might be
sûr,
at,
copier quand je vais vous montrer les
Maybe
détails.
closer to 2:07 p.m.
Je demande à NASA. Le temps de latence est moins présent aujourd'hui. Oui, c'est ce que je disais tout à l'heure en fait. Hier j'ai voulu mettre en full qualité, mais malheureusement j'avais des gros bugs. D'une, j'avais des freezes et de deux, j'avais une latence de 1 minute 30. C'est énorme. Donc là voilà, donc là on voit le Crew-1. On voit très bien là, le Crew-1, donc là MS. Et je crois que j'ai même vu une tête dans la cupola.
The features of the space station coming
Donc
into view
la
very
caméra
clearly.
avec le bras est par
And
là.
you can see a lot of the
Et on voyait le
detail
bras.
there. And as
Et le
you
Canadarm est
mentioned,
ici.
the Crew-1 Dragon.
Donc ça, ce n'est pas avec le Canadarm, c'est le bras japonais. Donc ça, c'est un Progress ou c'est l'autre. Enfin, un des deux est un
Houston
Progress.
copies.
Alright, that was confirmation from Victor Glover aboard the International Space Station.
Ah,
From
mais tu m'envoies une photo,
space
je veux
station
voir.
side,
Ah, mais là, t'es
he is
obligé.
go for docking. The soft capture ring itself is fully extended.
Donc là, on peut voir du coup le Crew-1 qui devrait partir mercredi, comme je l'ai dit, et je vais en faire un live parce que c'est pas tous les jours qu'un dragon rentre. Il y en a eu que 2. Voilà. 3. C'est un satellite? Non, ce n'est pas un satellite, c'est de la Station Spatiale Internationale. Donc c'est l'ISS. Donc c'est un laboratoire géant où il y a là ils envoient des humains, dont Thomas Pesquet, Shane Kimbrough, Megan MacArthur et le japonais, j'ai encore oublié son nom. Je suis désolé pour lui. Hey, moi aussi. Nope. ISS, le labo de l'espace. Oui, voilà, c'est en fait, c'est un labo. C'est un labo spatial. Qui est très utile d'ailleurs. Très utile. Et d'ailleurs, c'est assez dommage que la NASA veut le rendre privé. Hiroshi... Non, c'est Ikuki, comme ça. Mais non, Aka, elle rigole. Donc, là, on peut voir du coup... ça, à la base, en fait, c'était pour la TV. C'est ce qui a permis à la TV de se bloquer, mais du coup, il ne servait plus rien. On l'a laissé parce que ça peut toujours être utile, plus la preuve. Ça sert. Mais ça, du coup, c'est européen, ce docking, ce port d'amarrage, c'est européen.
Making sure the sun wasn't interfering with the optical
Je le
sensors
vois
the
en
Dragon
robe.
That are part of the guidance and
Mais ça, du
navigation
coup,
and
c'est
control
européen
system
et ça
for
servait
Dragon.
pour la TV, qui était un sorte de gros vaisseau de ravitaillement européen aussi.
And closing, Dragon will pause at 20 meters. That's designated as waypoint 2 to conduct a go, no-go poll for the readiness on both the Dragon side and the International Space Station side, making sure everyone is good for
l'image, elle est de top qualité là, franchement.
If we are go, we expect to dock
Et
during this
dire qu'il y a
pass
des
over an
gens que
orbital
c'est
daytime.
fake, alors que ces images-là,
Expected in less
c'est
than
du
20
4K. Hein.
minutes.
C'est clairement du 4K. Malheureusement, avec du coup pas la latence, mais le débit d'envoi de l'ISS qui est quand même limité, et surtout les communications sont prioritaires. Donc, voilà. Donc on n'a pas du 4K vraiment, mais du coup avec la connexion. Donc, mais sinon, belle image, elle est magnifique. Hein.
Actually, above that is the Crew Dragon Resilience, docked to the Zenith port. Once Crew Dragon Endeavour arrives, there will be 2 Crew Dragons attached to the space station.
Ils ont fait une sortie il y a 1 ou 2 mois justement pour installer ces caméras 4K, juste pour le public. Ça ne sert à rien d'autre que pour le public. Et ils ont dépensé des millions et des millions pour le public. Et ça, franchement, c'est juste génial. Bon, bien sûr, eux, ça leur sert à rien parce que eux, ils ont tout ce qu'il faut, donc ils ont des caméras spéciales au niveau du Crew-Dragon. Ils ont les lasers, ils ont la télémétrie, donc eux, ça leur sert à part vraiment s'il y a un gros problème pour voir qu'est-ce qui s'est passé, voir s'il y a une fuite et tout. Mais sinon, pour eux, du 4K, ça sert à rien. Donc là, on peut voir le logo de l'ESA, donc l'agence spatiale européenne, et de la JAXA, l'agence spatiale japonaise. Et on peut voir le magnifique Crew-Dragon 1. Donc là, c'est magnifique. Là, par contre,
The US built Node 2 is where the Dragon will be docking today.
Non, non, en fait, it
was flanked by the European Columbus module and the Japanese gem.
Et le soleil est jaune. Mais non, mais le soleil, il est pas jaune, mais il est violet.
SpaceX copies. Visors are down. We may enter into a hold at waypoint 2.
Alors, je tiens juste à dire que ça, c'est pas des haut-parleurs. Ça, c'est des lumières. Parce que des haut-parleurs dans l'espace, ça sert à rien. Parce que comme il n'y a pas d'air, il n'y a pas de son. Par contre, je sais pas si c'est moi, mais j'ai l'impression qu'ils sont super hauts. En fait, là, j'ai l'impression qu'ils vont toucher le bras. Il est blanc. Mais non, il est violet. Le soleil est violet.
Here from the International Space Station, watching Crew Dragon as it is slowly approaching.
Mais non, mais elle est carrée. Non, elle est pas carrée, c'est un donut la Terre. Tout le monde le sait qu'elle a une forme de donut. D'accord. On dirait Baliara hier quand elle était en stationnaire.
Dragon holding at waypoint 2.
Alors je tiens juste à dire pour la rediff que bien sûr ces gens ne pensent pas qu'elle est plate, hein, c'est juste pour rigoler. Bien sûr, hein, ce ne sont pas des platistes. Encore heureux d'ailleurs, sinon je ne serais pas bien avec des platistes. Bah alors, le soleil et les Jani. Le soleil et les Jani, d'accord, donc le soleil s'appelle Jani. Très bien. C'est Jani le soleil. Donc là, petite histoire pour ce port bas d'amarrage appelé Hermaphrodite. C'est que durant l'émission Apollo-Soyouz, en fait, parce qu'à la base, on a ce qu'on appelle des ports bas d'amarrage femelles et d'autres mâles. Mâle, en fait, c'est juste qu'il y a une tige qui sort et femelle, en fait, c'est la tige qui va rentrer. Et en fait, la création de ça, c'est que durant l'émission Apollo-Soyouz, on devait faire rentrer un module américain dans un module russe. Le problème, c'est que les deux ont un port d'amarrage mâle. Donc, du coup, ça ne rentre pas. Donc, du coup, ils ont dû inventer un port d'amarrage spécial car la Russie et les Américains n'ont pas voulu faire la femme, en gros. Voilà. C'était filmé. Voilà. Donc là, ils mettent, ils préparent tous les préparatifs. Les préparatifs. Ils mettent leur visière. Et ils devraient pas tarder à s'élancer. Ah, ils sont dans l'océan Indien. Enfin, dans l'océan Indien, au-dessus.
Heading on a southeasterly course just south of
donc là, ils sont en train de tout vérifier, voir si tout va bien, et ils devraient y retourner.
The expectation is for Dragon to depart here from waypoint 2 and proceed on with docking ahead of orbital nighttime to beat the sun.
Par contre, on dirait qu'ils vont se docker avec le bras, mais pas du tout. Donc là, une stop, voilà. Pile quand j'ai dit stop, il s'est arrêté. Stop, non, monte pas. Mais on veut voir la Terre aussi. Ah voilà. Voilà, donc la Terre un peu. Oui. Mais non. Ah, regardez. Je sais pas si vous avez vu, ouais. Ah non, c'est l'enfer de la Terre.
Just get a more detailed view of
je croyais que c'était
Dragon Endeavour, patiently waiting, docking to the International Space Station.
Dragon on its second flight, about to dock to the forward end of the International Space Station for the second time.
And Station and Endeavour on the big loop. Ike, we are not able to recover that video for the D2DM, so you can close that window, and we should be ready to press into final approach shortly.
Ok. Donc là, il vient de dire que qu'ils peuvent pas fermer leur visière et que eux, ils sont prêts pour l'approche finale. Donc il n'y a plus qu'à attendre la validation du Mission Control.
You did hear that call out speak out to Ike. Ike is actually referring to Victor Glover. That is just his nickname.
Voilà. Donc là, plus qu'à attendre du coup la validation. Ah.
Dragon SpaceX on the big loop. Ground is now go for final approach.
Voilà.
Upon confirmation of crew readiness for final approach, we will enable the approach. Please confirm crew readiness, and a reminder, once Dragon is inside the crew hands-off point, retreat and breakout are no longer permitted.
Ok, donc là ils viennent de me dire que ils étaient prêts pour l'approche finale et qu'ils peuvent y aller, qu'ils doivent juste confirmer leur télémétrie, leurs données qu'ils ont, voir si tout est correct, et une fois que c'est fait, ils peuvent y aller. Donc ça devrait pas prendre très longtemps, parce que en général ça va assez vite.
That the crew is ready for the docking to the International Space Station. They no longer will have control of any aborts. If there is an abort needed, it will have to be done by the Dragon autonomously.
And on the big loop, monitor per steps 3 and 4 and 1.104.
Nani. Le français. AK. Et du coup, plus. Donc là, il devrait pas tarder. Là, à mon avis, ils font...
Again, we are now moving into the CHOP, which is the crew hands-off point. As I was mentioning earlier, if there is an abort, it will need to be done autonomously by Dragon.
Alright, we did get confirmation. Approach 2 has been initiated. So Dragon now making its way inside the 20-meter hold point at about 18 meters and closing. Final approach of Endeavour to dock with the International Space Station has started. Docking expected in about 3.5 minutes from now.
Voilà, donc là ils sont lancés. Approche finale. Donc là c'est le moment le plus critique. Parce que c'est déjà arrivé avec Mir que lors d'une procédure où un Soyuz devait tourner autour de la station spatiale,
ils ont
percuté un module et un panneau solaire. Et malheureusement c'était le module Prime ou Primus.
Right, we're 13 meters and closing, making a slow and methodical approach to the docking port.
Et malheureusement, c'était le module qui donnait beaucoup d'énergie, il a été dépressurisé, il a été fermé. Et à cause de ça, l'ISS, la station Mir, a eu pas mal de pannes, de courant et tout, pas mal de problèmes. De toute façon, l'ISS, pourquoi je dis l'ISS? De toute façon, la station Mir a eu pas mal de problèmes.
Copy, 10 meters.
10 mètres. Donc,
that call out was this Crew Dragon is just 10 meters away from the International Space Station as it continues its approach for
donc là, bien sûr, l'image
docking.
peut même voir quasiment chaque vis, chaque détail. On a une très belle vue là-bas.
Again, docking will occur in two phases. There will be a soft capture followed by a hard capture, and what that hard capture means is 12 physical hooks will connect the Dragon to the space station.
Great views. Dragon just 6 meters away as the station and Dragon fly in tandem 263 statute miles over the South Indian Ocean in the background.
5 meters.
We're 5 meters and closing.
Copy 5 meters.
Donc là on peut commencer à voir l'ombre du... Qu'est-ce que c'est? On dirait la tête d'une girafe. Oui non ok d'accord. C'est le bras japonais qui fait l'ombre, donc là ils sont vraiment très proches.
You can really start to see the detail on Dragon there as it is closing in on docking.
That's right, 2.5 meters, 30 seconds. Crew hands off point was called out.
Dragon, SpaceX on the big loop, soft capture confirmed.
Ok, donc ils ont été capturés.
Soft capture confirmed.
Great news with that call out. That soft capture is confirmed.
À la marée, ils ont été capturés.
That's
donc,
right, that soft capture time 2:08 a.m. Pacific time, 4:08 a.m. Eastern. The station and Dragon connected 264 statute miles over the South Indian Ocean. Endeavour connected to International Space Station for the second time.
Et c'est la
There
première fois
are
aussi
still a few steps to
que
complete before Dragon is securely attached.
Dragon SpaceX on the big loop, soft capture ring retraction in progress.
Ok, donc là, comme je vous l'ai dit, les deux parties qui servent à accrocher vont se rétracter pour coller les deux vaisseaux.
The ring retraction is happening.
Donc là on peut voir.
Ring retraction happening as expected.
C'est très lent, mais ils sont en train, les deux sont en train de.
And after the ring retracts,
alors qu'on va bientôt passer
12 hooks will latch, 6 at a time, to perform a hard capture, and will officially mate Dragon to the International Space Station.
Got this really awesome view of Dragon.
Donc là, par contre, là, c'est pas du 4K, donc.
As it is connected to the port, currently making progress on hard capture.
Donc là, il devrait pas tarder à dire que l'amarrage est confirmé.
Soft capture ring retraction does take some time. It is continuing at its anticipated speed. Things are looking good. Again, this is the first in a series of steps to officially mate Dragon to the station.
Donc là, bien sûr, ça ne veut pas dire qu'ils sont encore, ils ne sont pas arrivés, car à tout moment, il peut y avoir un problème qui les empêche de se docker, ou alors l'amarrage final qui n'est pas confirmé. Et s'il n'arrive pas à être confirmé au bout de 6 essais, je crois, et il doit faire un retour sur Terre. Donc tant qu'ils ne sont pas dans l'ISS, eux, à tout moment ils peuvent rentrer sur Terre. Donc là bien sûr, on reste sur nos gardes. Mais là il ne devrait pas tarder à dire que le Crew-Dragon est arrivé.
If you're just joining us, we heard the call out for soft capture confirmed at 2:08 a.m. Pacific time, 4:08 a.m. Eastern time.
Ok, il y a juste de dire ouais,
Station and Dragon were 264 statute miles over the South Indian Ocean at the time of contact and capture. We're still in the process of retracting the soft capture ring and anticipating proceeding with the hard capture sequence, where 12 hooks will drive to officially mate Dragon with the International Space Station's International Docking Adapter at the forward port. Crew Dragon Endeavour docked to that forward port for the second time.
Dragon SpaceX on the big loop. Ring retraction is complete. Docking sequence is holding for MCS reconfiguration.
Ok, donc là les deux vaisseaux sont collés, ils attendent la configuration du... Donc que les deux parties se sentent bien, puis ensuite c'est parti pour beaucoup d'attentes. 1 à 2 heures d'attente peut-être.
If you're just now joining us, as you can see on your screen, Crew Dragon has made contact with the International Space Station, and we're currently in progress of...
Endeavour and Station, MCS is configured, proceeding with hook driving.
Endeavour copies. Station copies.
Great timing there. This is now the beginning of the hard capture sequence. This is where 12 hooks will latch
Bien sûr, ça va prendre du temps, hein.
Between Dragon and the space station, 6 hooks at a time. This will take a few minutes to complete.
That's right, that MCS is just configuring the International Space Station's attitude control. It needed to be configured differently between a soft capture and hard capture sequence. So now that that's been confirmed, they can go ahead and press to drive the 12 hooks needed to confirm a hard capture. To reiterate, the Dragon had contact and capture with the space station at 2:08 a.m. Pacific time, 5:08 a.m. Eastern. Space Station and Dragon crossing over the Terminator line, just south of Australia, about to head over the South Pacific Ocean. Start seeing the views of Dragon get a little bit dimmer as we still undergo the hard capture sequence.
Et là, le problème c'est que on va repasser dans la nuit. Donc on ne va plus voir grand chose.
All right, again, we're still undergoing the hard capture sequence There's 12 hooks that drive to officially mate Dragon to the International Space Station, 6 of them driving currently. Station attitude configured to support the hard capture sequence, now operating on control moment gyros to maintain attitude control during the hard capture sequence. All right, and we have confirmation the first set of hooks, all 6 have been driven. They look good. The second set are driving and are looking good at the anticipated speed. Halfway there.
This will take just a couple more minutes for hard capture to complete. As a reminder, after hard capture is complete, they do still have some more steps that they need to go through in order to ensure that the space station and Dragon are safe for crew ingress. There will be the hatch opening as the crew as well, the crew on board Dragon as well as the station will be walking through some procedures prior to ingress of the Crew-2 crew on the International Space Station, but once they do ingress on the station, there will be a welcome ceremony.
Donc, bien sûr, j'arrêterai le live une fois que la cérémonie sera finie.
Again, half of the hard capture hooks have been driven and locked into place. The second set of 6 hooks, 12 total, 6 of them driving.
Dragon SpaceX on the big loop, hard capture is complete. You are go to open visors.
Ok, donc là ils peuvent ouvrir leur visière.
Copy, hard capture complete, opening visors.
All right, Crew Dragon Endeavour officially made it to the International Space Station. That dynamic period of the docking phase is complete. The crew inside Dragon have been wearing their suits just as an extra precaution, but they can go ahead and pull up their visors. It's going to be some time until the hatches themselves are open between Dragon and the International Space Station. Still some things to configure on that side. The vestibule on the International Docking Adapter that separates the hatches of Dragon and the International Space Station, that's been exposed to the vacuum of space and has had the sun shining on it periodically. So when repressurizing the vestibule to equal the pressure inside the space station.
Station, hard capture complete. Welcome to ISS. We are so excited to have you aboard.
Voilà, donc là,
Thanks, Anna. We're glad to be here. We'll see you all in a few minutes.
Ils viennent de dire, l'ISS, qu'ils sont contents de les avoir à bord.
International Space Station Commander Shannon Walker welcoming the crew. Now Crew-2 officially made it to the International Space Station. Again, it's going to be some time until they come in, but the commander of the International Space Station welcoming 4 new crew members for her expedition on board here shortly.
Ah, mon téléphone est tombé. Je sais pas si on a pu entendre ce boom.
All right, so again, there's a series of steps here as we enter into an orbital nighttime, completing the docking of Crew Dragon Endeavour to the International Space Station for a second time. That contact and capture occurring at 2:08 a.m. Pacific time, 5:08 a.m. Eastern. We have a confirmed hard capture. The umbilical is in motion to connect the station to the Dragon and provide data and power and communication through that umbilical, so it no longer has to rely on its own systems. Everything's looking good for that vehicle. It's going to be some time again until we repressurize the vestibule and get those hatches open between the Dragon and the International Space Station. It'll be the crew inside the station getting that ready to be opened.
Endeavour, SpaceX, docking sequence is complete. Welcome to the ISS.
Voilà, donc là, le docking a été confirmé. Donc là, on voit notre cher Thomas Pesquet. Donc là, on voit Megan MacArthur, Shane Kimbrough.
In some more official words, that docking
Il faut que je regarde
is complete. The crew must be so excited to finally have arrived at the space station. Again, there is some more steps that they will need to complete and some checks before they can ingress on the space station. But the crew can now get out of their suits before moving into hatch operations. So now they can start to get comfortable again. They no longer need these suits now that they have arrived at the space station.
That's right, and so it'll be some time again until that area between the International Space Station and the hatches.
SpaceX Endeavour on Dragon to ground. Are you ready for us to begin suit doffing?
SpaceX copies. You are go to begin suit doffing and audio configuration. Procedure 4.012.
Copy, that's in work.
So again, it'll take some time. The crew will begin doffing or taking off their suits. It'll be some time to repressurize the vestibule. Station side, astronauts on the station side will configure the hatch, getting ready to open that up and welcome the crew inside the International Space Station. It was a pretty great docking. Everything happened right on cue and as expected. So it was great to see Crew Dragon Endeavour dock to the International Space Station once again. We've enjoyed it from here in Mission Control Hawthorne, but to see how things turned out from the space station side of things as we work together to complete today's operation, let's go to Courtney Beasley for a refresher on what's ahead now that Dragon is docked.
SpaceX cameras are external.
Copy, thanks.
Ah d'accord, c'est eux qui ont coupé la caméra.
Thanks, Gary. It's great to see Dragon successfully docked to the International Space Station. Even through the face masks, you can see and feel the excitement in the room here in Mission Control Houston. Now that we're docked, Victor Glover is securing some hardware, and then he'll move right into hatch operations. First, he will open the large hatch at Node 2 forward, giving him access inside the pressurized mating adapter. Then he will have to pressurize the vestibule, which is the small space between the hatches on Dragon and the space station. This was exposed to vacuum prior to docking, and he will need to fill it with air and make sure its pressure is nearly equal with the atmospheric pressures on Dragon and the station. He will use a small valve on the station's hatch to slowly introduce air into the vestibule, and flight controllers here in Houston will monitor the pressure and temperature readings inside and verify that everything is leak-free before we get ready to open up the hatches. We expect it to take about 2 hours to get everything pressurized and checked out before we open hatches. With Dragon successfully docked to the International Space Station, that's the latest from here in Mission Control Houston. And back to the team over in Hawthorne.
All right, thanks, Courtney. As mentioned, it will take some time to go ahead and go through those procedures, but we'll stay with you throughout today's coverage. Of course, one of the major things will be repressurizing the vestibule in between the hatches. There's a hatch called the A-Pass hatch. That's the hatch on the International Space Station side. And then there's the Dragon hatch itself. In between is a vestibule that's currently at vacuum. So in order to travel through both hatches, you need to repressurize that. Now that there's a hard mate between the two vehicles, they'll check the seal. They'll do some leak checks as they're repressurizing the vestibule up to vacuum. And that will take some time.
SpaceX Endeavour, sound check on the cabin mic.
SpaceX has you loud and clear on the cabin mic.
We have you the same thing.
Voilà, donc là ils viennent de faire des tests, des tests
crew inside Endeavour go through their procedures. One of the first things they're ready to do is take off those suits. They had to wear it through several of the operations of a launch from the Kennedy Space Center to a docking with the International Space Station. Launch is a very dynamic activity, so they had suits on up until orbital insertion, and then they were able to doff their suits, have a meal, go to bed, check out some of the systems, wake up, and then right before they entered into the approach phase of today's flight with the approach initiation burn, they got their suits on and were able to pressurize them, and they held pressure throughout that sequence of today's flight until docking. Now they get to take it off, they get to stretch out, change into something a little bit more comfortable, but not too comfortable, of course, because they will be, we will have an event to welcome them on board the International Space Station. We expect all 11 crew members to be there to welcome them. It's going to be pretty crowded, but it should be very exciting to see that many people on board the International Space Station.
And those call-outs that we just heard were they were checking, they were doing a comm check with the Crew-Dragon communications because they've now taken off their suits. They have comms through their suits, but since they're not going to be wearing their suits anymore, they need to use the comms through Dragon.
Et que du coup, il y en a un qui va devoir dormir
very
dans le
exciting.
vaisseau
It sounds like they're out, they're getting out of their
Crew
suits
1
as we
reparte,
speak,
du coup.
or doffing their suits. And then we will soon begin the process to open up those hatches so that the crew can finally ingress onto the space station. So it will take a little bit of time, but we will be here with you through every step of the way.
Donc là, normalement, on devrait retrouver le signal quand ils auront retiré leur combinaison. Monsieur, votre masque. Ah, il pose au café. D'accord. Voilà. Remets ton masque. Mais oh. Par contre, hein, moi j'aimerais bien voir autant d'écrans. Mais si vous remarquez bien, pour leur bureau, ils n'ont pas de tour. Pourquoi ils n'ont pas de tour? Tout simplement parce que ils sont, les tours sont à un autre endroit. Ça évite tout simplement de les gêner. Et c'est beaucoup plus simple comme ça. Donc ils ont une tour, ils ont leur tour autre part. Enfin, c'est un sort de gros serveur en fait. Hein.
If you're just now joining us, the Crew-2 crew has finally docked to the International Space Station after an approximately 23-hour ride from Earth to the station. Again, they are going to be performing a few procedures here before the Crew-2 can ingress onto the space station. They will be opening the APAS hatch, which is the space station side hatch, followed by the Dragon hatch. But this will take some time. They will need to repressurize the vestibule in between those two hatches before the crew can ingress.
That's right, the umbilical on the Dragon side has been fully extended to provide power, communications, and data from the International Space Station to the Dragon, so the Dragon no longer needing to rely on its own power systems. And of course, when the hatches are open, they'll be able to mix the air from the environment that's inside the space station with the Dragon, so it no longer needs to rely on its environmental control and life support systems. In the meantime, it is still doing so because the hatches are closed between both the Dragon and the International Space Station. There is a gap called the vestibule in between them that's currently at vacuum. That vestibule has been exposed to the vacuum of space on the forward end of the International Docking Adapter. So when bringing the pressure back up, there may be swings because of the temperature variation. There may be swings that need to dampen out before an effective leak check could take place. So the process of repressurizing the vestibule in between those two hatches does take quite a long time. It's expected to be about 2 hours until both of the hatches are open because of the length of time of repressuring that vestibule. Now from the station side, Victor Glover will outfit the 8-pass hatch. That's the one on the station side. He'll open it up and remove, once the vestibule is pressurized, he'll open that up and remove the docking target and install some padding onto the 8-pass hatch so that there's no unnecessary contact as astronauts are coming through the hatch from Crew Dragon to come inside of the forward end of the International Space Station.
Station Houston on 2, on the big loop, you are go to pick up in Ingress Part 1, Step 1. Note that the pre-ingress ventilation in Step 1.6 is not required.
Okay, picking up Step 1 and 1.6 not required.
Donc là, il vient de dire qu'ils
Dragon
sont
SpaceX,
prêts pour...
no response required, but ISS power connection has been established.
Donc là, la connexion avec l'ISS a été établie.
There you go. So Victor Glover on the International Space Station side already going through his procedures to get the hatches configured for ingress, essentially supporting the opening of the hatches, repressurizing in the vestibule. There's a lot to happen before we can open up the hatch and welcome the crew on the inside. The umbilical has been fully extended, and we just got confirmation that Dragon is drawing power from the International Space Station, so the solar arrays on the station providing power downstream to the Dragon. Dragon no longer needing to rely on its power. That officially confirmed. It will again take some time until the Dragon hatches are open. Dragon and Space Station hatches are open. And we've noticed for the past 2 times that Crew Dragons have docked to the station. The past 2 times being when Crew was aboard for Demo 2 and for Crew 1. We did notice that the crew inside Dragon took some time before to get themselves situated and make sure everything on the Dragon side was configured before they left it and entered into the International Space Station. We should see celebratory hugs from the crew on board as they make their way one at a time, as they'll be together for the next few days until they have to say farewell to the Crew 1 astronauts aboard the International Space Station. Shannon Walker handing over command of the International Space Station.
Par contre, je viens de voir que SpaceX avait
before she does that, she's going to hand command over to Aki Hoshide, who's currently on board Crew-2. He'll take the responsibility of International Space Station commander through the duration of Expedition 65 until he's ready to hand it off to the next crew. That all happening in the next couple of days.
Donc, par contre, c'est la première fois que je vois les membres, des membres de SpaceX ne pas manger. Parce que d'habitude, ils sont toujours en train de manger. Là, il n'y a personne qui mange. C'est bon, ils boivent du café, ça c'est obligatoire. Mais sur chaque live, même s'il est 14h, ils mangent. Ils ont toujours des donuts, des trucs comme ça, toujours.
Crew Dragon Endeavour is docked to the International Space Station as we speak.
Donc là, on peut voir ici, c'est le mission,
procedures here for hatch opening.
De SpaceX, et là c'est le Mission Control de la NASA. Je sais pas lequel vous préférez, mais moi je préfère celui-là de SpaceX, qui est plus ouvert.
A little over an hour and a half to walk through all of these procedures. So though Crew-2 is
et par contre, je viens de voir que... Ah.
And Ike, we copy, and you are go to continue through step 2. Pressurizing vestibule.
Continue through step 2.
C'est quoi ce bruit qu'ils sont faits?
As I mentioned, they are walking through several procedures
pour la NASA, ils ont
to get those
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 écrans.
As you can hear that communication between Victor Glover on board the station with the ground team helping him out with the procedures.
Chacun.
That first hatch that he mentioned is the Node 2 forward hatch. From inside the Node 2 segment of the International Space Station, there are 3 hatches to get from Node 2 all the way down to the Dragon itself.
Dragon SpaceX, if desired, reference procedure 4.400 for monitoring vestibule pressurization.
Donc là, le vestibule est en train d'être pressurisé. Donc le vestibule, c'est les deux parties entre l'ISS et le Crew-2. Donc c'est la partie qui était avant qu'il soit docké, c'est la partie où il était dans l'espace.
Victor Glover inside the pressurized mating adapter.
Alors, certes, ça prend du temps, mais si on la pressurise trop vite, ça risque d'abîmer les pièces, et il faut que le vestibule s'adapte progressivement à la pression.
Victor Glover can work to
Parce que si on fait ça
pressurize the vestibule,
d'exploser.
And we just heard from here in Mission Control Hawthorne that the crew on board Dragon Endeavour will be able to monitor the vestibule pressurization on their displays from the side of
Parce qu'il faut se dire que la pression atmosphérique qu'on a sur Terre, elle est quand même forte. Donc si on passe d'une pression nulle à une pression bas terrestre, bon, les pièces ne vont pas trop aimer, quoi. Donc c'est pour ça on fait lentement. Puis au moins c'est sécurisé. Et donc aussi ils sont en train de changer un chien, je suis désolé. Ils sont en train de changer l'air de l'ISS, du Crew-Dragon, parce que ce n'est pas le même que l'ISS. Il y a des différences de pression, il y a le mélange d'air qui n'est pas le même, parce que je sais que sur le Crew-Dragon il y a plus d'oxygène que dans l'ISS, donc ils sont en train de tout simplement de changer pour que ça fasse un changement trop brutal pour l'organisme. C'est pour ça aussi que ça prend du temps. Et une fois que tout ça sera fait, ils vont faire des tests de communication. Voilà.
Houston copies 0938.
Alors par contre je ne comprends pas tout ce qu'ils disent. J'aimerais bien comprendre, mais je ne comprends pas. Je ne suis pas assez qualifié pour comprendre cela. Par contre, j'aimerais bien savoir c'est qui le Capcom à la NASA. Donc, je répète, le Capcom, c'est la voix des astronautes, c'est la voix qui parle aux astronautes.
SpaceX headquarters in Hawthorne, California, flight controllers.
En tout cas, chez SpaceX, le Capcom, c'est lui.
The navigation of Crew Dragon Endeavour that autonomously made its way.
Qu'est-ce qu'ils font avec leur micro?
The Kennedy Space Center in Florida to the International Space Station, docking at 2:08 a.m. Pacific Time, 5:08 a.m. Eastern.
Ah, j'avais pas vu tous les commentaires.
With the International Space Station as they've been flying over the South Indian Ocean. Control teams are now working to configure Dragon for its stay aboard the International Space Station. if hard mated it using 12 hooks that drive to connect it to the international docking adapter, and have connected an umbilical and confirmed that power is being drawn from the space station to the Dragon no longer needing to rely on its power source during its stay.
Mais ils ont plein de vitres en fait. Donc du coup ça fait un environnement plus ouvert. Et il faut dire aussi que les bureaux de la NASA ils sont vieux quand même, hein. Ils datent des missions Apollo. Oui Amina, désolé, je viens de voir les commentaires. Désolé, je m'étais pas mis en chat direct. Voilà, mon micro grince, désolé. Mais il faut se dire aussi que la NASA c'est plutôt jeune, hein. La NASA ça a été créé dans les années vers la fin de la Seconde Guerre mondiale. Enfin, créé, on va dire convertir. Donc du coup voilà. Ouais, mais elles ne sont pas si ouf. Bah oui, mais c'est ce que je dis aussi, ils sont vieux. Donc voilà, donc ils devraient moderniser. Attends, je vais y revenir après. Donc là ils disent que prochaine étape c'est l'ouverture du SAS. Moderniser c'est compliqué parce que en fait le bâtiment n'a pas été fait comme chez SpaceX. Chez SpaceX ça a vraiment été fait pour que ce soit grand, lumineux et tout. Chez la NASA eux c'est plutôt le côté pratique. Donc en fait là s'ils mettent plein de vitres, ils viront d'autres bureaux, enfin des petits bureaux, enfin ou alors des couloirs. Voilà, c'est pas terrible. Et il faut savoir aussi que la NASA c'est vieux. Donc eux à l'époque, donc là le bâtiment a été créé pour l'époque, non pas pour l'époque Apollo mais bien avant. Et donc du coup ils pensaient pas comme ça, eux ils pensaient juste pratique, alors que SpaceX, ça se voit avec leur vaisseau et leur combinaison, ils pensent très tout ce qu'ils font c'est stylisé en gros, c'est modernisé pour que ce soit futuriste, joli, voilà. Et il faut savoir que aussi la NASA au niveau des employés c'est pas pareil. Chez la NASA c'est surtout des personnels qui sont vieux mais qui ont moins 50 40 ans et tout, alors que chez SpaceX c'est plus des jeunes qui sortent des études. Donc voilà, donc c'est pour ça aussi chez SpaceX ils veulent donner ils veulent se donner ce côté jeune, modernisé, voilà. Ouais, je vois, c'est difficile de tout changer. SpaceX c'est pour ça pas d'abord, mais en fait SpaceX ils font sécurité esthétique, alors que la NASA et Roscosmos eux l'esthétique ils s'en fichent totalement. Eux du moment que ça marche, voilà, on s'en fiche. Mais tu as capté quoi? De quoi j'ai capté quoi? Annie? Ah, est-ce qu'on aurait... Mais... Pas juste? Oh, pas juste? Ah oui, non, d'accord. D'accord. Ah oui, non, non, oui, non, non. Oui, non, mais... je viens de comprendre, c'est juste moi qui avais mal lu. Mais non, sinon, dis-toi, je viens de me réveiller. Moi, c'est mignon, merci. Écoute, bon réveil, hein. puis là, ce qu'on voit en fait, juste à côté des du Mission Control de chez SpaceX, c'est tout simplement l'usine. C'est là où ils construisent en fait. C'est là où ils vont construire je crois que c'est là où ils construisent les moteurs, et ensuite ils vont les envoyer au site d'assemblage. Donc le site d'assemblage ensuite va les monter avec le réservoir et tout le reste, et donc faire un étage. Soit le premier ou soit le deuxième étage. Et si je ne me trompe, ici, tout là, c'est le moteur du premier étage. Les écouteurs. De quoi les écouteurs? Non. Les moteurs. Pas les écouteurs, les moteurs. Non. chez SpaceX, on fait pas des écouteurs, on fait des fusées. C'est pas pareil. Après, écoute, hein, si tu veux écouter ta musique avec des fusées, libre à toi, mais... Ouais, non, c'est pas le même bail, en effet, hein, parce que si tu écoutes ta musique avec des fusées, ça risque de piquer un petit peu. Hein. Bon. C'est assez long hein, quand même. Qu'est-ce qu'ils font eux? Ils se sont fait un câlin? Non mais oh, c'était interdit les câlins. Et oh, le Covid. C'est mouvementé donc. Ouais, tu as vu. Ah ouais, mais c'est le spatial, hein. C'est très mouvementé. C'est dingue, hein. Et dis-toi au moins qu'il y a Thomas Pesquet, hein, qui est un basketteur. Hein. Il a fait du rugby, du judo et tout. Hein. Plus qu'il vient de Rouen. Hein. Ah mais c'est... Donc là on peut voir la moitié des équipes qui sont tout simplement parties. Parce que faut se dire, hein, elles ont le temps. Oui. Thomas Pesquet est un basketteur, oui. Il a fait du basket. Il a fait notamment, il est ami avec Tony Parker. Donc oui, il adore le basket, oui. Et d'ailleurs, lors de sa première mission, là je ne sais pas s'il l'a fait, lors de sa première mission, il a emmené son ballon de basket.
Alright, if you're just joining us, you're getting a live view of both of the control rooms. On the left is SpaceX Mission Control in Hawthorne, and on the right, Mission Control Houston with the International Space Station Flight Control Room. Crew Dragon Endeavour is officially docked to the International Space Station, and right now teams on both the station side and Dragon side are working to get ready to open up the hatches in between them. It's going to take some time until we get to that point where we're able to open up the hatches. Victor Glover on the station side is currently inside the pressurized mating adapter. He's working to manually pressurize the vestibule that exists between both of the hatches. It's going to take some time because that vestibule has been exposed to vacuum since before Crew Dragon just docked at 2:08 a.m. Pacific time, 5:08 a.m. Eastern time, and because it has been exposed to vacuum, the thermal environment causes it to have a little bit of oscillation as the pressure is rising. So they need to have some thermal equalization in the vestibule before beginning the pressurization to ensure that the leak checks are accurate. So they'll do a leak check on the way up to pressure, which is a little more than 14 pounds per square inch. They'll do a pressure check at 5 pounds per square inch, make sure everything's good, that the vestibule is holding pressure, and then they'll continue on up to match the pressure between the International Space Station and the Crew Dragon. In the meantime, Victor Glover will open up the A-Pass hatch on the International Space Station side. That's the hatch that separates the vestibule from the Dragon hatch. He'll outfit the A-Pass hatch by taking off the docking target, which is a long rod with an X on it, and was used for some of the optical navigation equipment on the Crew Dragon for Dragon's approach and eventual docking to the station. He'll remove that, he'll put some pads on the A-Pass hatch, make sure no one bumps their heads on the way in. And then when he heads into the vestibule, there is a little window. Hopefully he'll be able to wave to his crewmates before they actually open up the hatch of the Dragon itself. After both hatches are open, the crews on both sides will get positioned. Well, first the Crew-2 astronauts will just make sure everything is okay on Endeavour's side.
Covid, ils se passent tous le même sopalin. Les gars, faut être logique un minimum, non? Vous mettez des masques tout le long, puis vous passez le sopalin, vous faites des câlins. Regardez, eux là-bas. Coucou Laura. Oula, ma souris.
And Soichi Noguchi from the Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency, also on board, arriving on a Russian Soyuz in April. Earlier this month was
Mais regardez, eux hier, eux là, ils se parlent à quelques centimètres, et puis tout à l'heure, ils sont là.
Go ahead for audio config.
Shane, we are about to transition to hardline audio with ISS.
Copy.
Donc là, ils vont tester l'audio avec l'ISS.
Confirmation, the Dragon and International Space Station are mated now by not only the International Docking Adapter, but there is an umbilical that's extending to the space station. We did have confirmation that we have power that's being drawn from the space station to the Dragon side, so they're configuring some of the other channels,
même s'ils se sont pas testés avant, tu vois, c'est juste pour la forme, c'est juste pour montrer l'exemple aux gens.
Couple of hours until as we continue to repressurize the vestibule and get the station and Dragon outfitted to eventually open up the hatches. We'll be with you throughout the entire duration of this sequence until we have those hatches open and provide a live coverage of a welcome ceremony, show the inside of the space station and the crews of Dragon, both Brazilians and Endeavour, and of course the MS-18 Soyuz vehicle that are all on board the International Space Station now as part of Expedition 65, welcoming each other officially aboard.
Faut pas le dire. Ah bah je suis désolé, hein, mais le replay il est disponible, hein. Donc tout le monde va le voir. Hein. Ah bah merci Amina, hein, bah merci de nous recaler tous, hein. Merci Amina. même les personnes de la NASA qui sont les personnes les plus sérieuses et les plus strictes partent. Ça veut tout dire. Parce que moi... merci Amina, voilà. Là je t'aime bien. Je rigole bien sûr. Enfin, oui je t'aime bien, mais voilà, j'ai compris. Tranquille, j'irai mater pesquer moi. Surtout que en plus j'ai caché en plus la 19. Je l'ai caché la 19. En fait, Amina, si tu comprends pas, la 19 en fait chez SpaceX, les gens qui préparent les astronautes et la fusée sont en combinaison noire. avec des masques et tout, une capuche, et ils ont juste un numéro comme ça les évite de leur appeler par le prénom, c'est plus simple. Et donc du coup, il y avait une fille, c'était 19, qui n'arrêtait pas de se pencher. Donc du coup, voilà. Et du coup, moi, je cachais avec, je cachais pas comme je pouvais pour éviter que Noah regarde. Par contre, juste, est-ce qu'on en parle du nombre d'écrans qu'il a, lui? Est-ce qu'on en parle? On a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Ah non, 5, pardon. Ouais, 5 écrans. Alors que vous voyez, chez SpaceX, on en a 2, 2, 2, 3, 3, 3, 3. Vous voyez, bon. 2, 3, voilà. 5 écrans. Je vais aller le couper. Vas-y, hein, pas de problème. Par contre, c'est assez évident, hein, c'est... Waouh. Je suis obligé de parler du nombre d'écrans, tellement qu'il ne se passe rien. Là là. C'est évident. Vive le spatial pour ça. Oui, c'est triste. Ouais. Surtout que pendant les tests, en fait, c'est des tests, quoi. C'est pas quelque chose de très palpitant, en fait, hein. Donc, moi, je suis habitué. Vous, non. Dans les deux centres, ils sont habitués aussi. Mais voilà, même quand t'as l'habitude, c'est toujours très long, hein. Donc c'est pour ça, si vous allez... pourquoi tu live? Parce que moi j'aime bien, mais le problème c'est que pour avoir quelque chose que tu veux, il faut attendre des heures et des heures et des heures. Ah, donc là on a une vue de la capsule qui s'est amarrée donc vers... il y a 1 heure à peu près. Donc la capsule Crew-Dragon, avec Thomas Pesquet, Shane Kimbrough, Megan MacArthur et j'ai encore oublié, hein. On me l'a mis tout à l'heure. Il est où le nom, 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 le nom. Akioko Oshida. Akioko Oshida, voilà. Mais non, sinon c'est le problème du spatial, hein. Il faut être très patient parce que voilà. Parce que là, moi, ce que je voulais voir, c'était le docking. Et donc, quand il rentre dans la station, il aura raison, la Terre est plate. On l'a vu en SVT. Non, elle est pas plate, c'est un donut. En fait, c'est un cerceau, en fait. C'est un donut. Voilà. Non, mais du coup, moi, ce que je voulais voir, c'était le docking et du coup, l'arrivée dans la station. Le problème, c'est que entre le docking et l'arrivée dans la station, il y a tous les tests et tout à faire. Donc, du coup, ça prend du temps. Je suis en train de regarder ton live avec mon papa. Bonjour monsieur, comment allez-vous? Voilà. Alors, on a vu, elle était plate. Ouais, oui, regardez. On est d'accord qu'elle est plate, hein. Regardez, ça fait pas du tout un arc de cercle. Elle est plate. On est d'accord. Non mais voilà, du coup, pour meubler le live, parce qu'il ne se passe rien, je vais vous dire où ils sont actuellement. Donc là, ce que vous voyez, c'est un module d'amarrage qui a été mis une illusion monoptique. Non, non, en fait, c'est juste que en fait là, ça fait une ligne, mais c'est juste que c'est dans le noir. C'est pour ça, on ne le voit pas. Mais non, en fait, du coup, en fait, là, ce qu'on voit, c'est le port d'amarrage. C'est un port d'amarrage qui a été mis par l'Europe pour son ATV, qui n'existe plus, mais du coup, la NASA l'a laissé parce que bon, ça, en fait, ça peut servir. Hein. Illusion, blasphème, blasphématrice. Attendez, je vais juste envoyer le lien. Hop. Juste envoyer le lien à quelqu'un, je reviens. Pour l'instant, actuellement, je ne vois pas les commentaires. Ah, voilà. Donc là, on a une vue. Donc ça, c'est le module, c'est le grenier de Kibo. Ça, c'est Kibo, c'est le module japonais de la JAXA. C'est le plus grand module de la station. Et donc ça, c'est son grenier. Et donc ça, c'est un autre module fait pour la TV, avec donc l'autre Crew-2. Donc je vais me dépêcher d'envoyer le lien avant qu'il change. Voilà, c'est bon. Voilà, c'est bon. Le lien. Et donc là, du coup, de l'autre côté, on a le module européen, donc on a le module Columbus, qui est donc la maison de l'Europe dans l'espace. Et donc là, on voit le petit nose cone du Crew-Dragon qui vient de s'amarrer avec un pesquet. Il faut juste se dire que ça, c'est pas une photo, hein. Ça, c'est une caméra 4K hein, qui a été mise juste pour le public, hein, parce que ce genre de vue pour la NASA, ça sert à rien. Donc ça, c'est juste pour nous. Hein.
Using 12 hooks that have driven to hard capture Crew Dragon Endeavour to the International Space Station.
Bon. Nous avons un blue screen, mais ça arrive très souvent hein, parce qu'ils sont à 400 km.
That power is being drawn from the station to Dragon. Dragon no longer needing to rely on its own internal systems for power.
Il faut savoir que le blue screen qu'on a vu, ça arrive très souvent hein, parce qu'ils sont à 420 km de haut. Voilà.
Between the Dragon itself, Crew Dragon Endeavour, and the International Space Station, and the ground teams, making sure that that connection that we've been hearing throughout the approach and docking phase of today's flight on the big loop.
SpaceX Houston and station, this is Endeavour, com check.
Donc là, ils sont en train de checker les communications. Je vais mettre le son.
And SpaceX has you loud and clear, Endeavour.
And Houston has you loud and clear.
And this space station has you loud and clear on hardline. We copy it all on hardline, loud and clear.
Ok, donc là du coup le test des communications a été fait. Donc là ils testent la communication Crew-Dragon ISS, Crew-Dragon Terre et ISS Crew-Dragon. Donc là tout va bien, pas de problème de communication.
The hardline communication network is working on board the International Space Station. That was the voice
donc
of
là,
Victor Glover,
normalement, il ne devrait plus trop
who's
tarder à
currently
rentrer.
working through the procedures for
Enfin,
opening
je
up the
l'espère, parce
hatches,
qu'après je
including
commence à avoir
the
faim.
repressurization of the
J'ai envie de me
vestibule.
rendormir.
Still awaiting some temperature equalization there before that begins. But that'll be some of his next steps. And then aboard Crew Dragon Endeavour, Commander Shane Kimbrough confirming that hardline communication is working.
Voilà, donc là les communications fonctionnent.
Dragon from the International Space Station.
Oui, absolument.
Will continue to provide periodic updates
Pourquoi ma voix t'appelle, c'est ça? Ou tu as juste envie de dormir?
Configuring the Dragon and the International Space Station as they are mated together in space.
Ou alors c'est juste que le live t'ennuie, hein? Mais ça c'est inconcevable. Voyons, c'est inconcevable. Dab. Ça va, vous amusez avec les emojis? Vous avez l'air de vous éclater en tout cas avec les emojis. Ah voilà, donc là on a une autre vue, bah non c'est la même vue que la capsule de la capsule. Alors juste le côté noir de la capsule, c'est pas que c'est brûlé, c'est les panneaux solaires en fait. Tout simplement. Panneaux solaires de la capsule. Alors je tiens juste à dire aussi que bah, la capsule c'est pas tout ça. La capsule c'est juste ça. Ça c'est ce qu'on appelle le tronc. Donc c'est là où il y a le carburant, les panneaux solaires et tout, qui sera bah, largué du coup au retour de Thomas Pesquet dans 6 mois, en septembre. J'ai déjà mis la distance de sécurité, t'as perdu. C'est quoi votre jeu là? Donc là une autre vue 4K, franchement les images sont magnifiques. Hein. Franchement c'est magnifique. Alors juste, je l'ai dit pas tout à l'heure, mais du coup c'était bien longtemps. Ça, c'est pas des haut-parleurs. Ça, c'est des lumières. Parce que des haut-parleurs dans l'espace, ça sert à rien puisqu'il n'y a pas de son. Il- C'est juste que bah, sans air, il n'y a pas de son. T'es nul. Je l'ai pas vu. T'es nul. Je suis d'accord avec toi, Alex. C'est grave. En même temps, il faut faire chacun son tour. Bah oui, franchement, c'est magnifique. Et encore, là, j'ai même pas trop fait attention, mais en fait, bah, il fait jour maintenant en fait. Donc là, du coup, donc là, on a une vue de la capsule. Hein. Donc là, le petit drapeau américain, les petites ailettes. Et donc ça, là, c'est le port d'amarrage de la capsule. Et ça, c'est la capsule en elle-même. Maintenant, je regarde le live avec Lulu. Ah, Lulu, coucou Lulu. Lulu. Coucou Ika. J'aime bien le mot ailette. C'est marrant. Ailettes, les petites ailettes. Regarde, là. Alors, juste pour vous dire, en fait, bah, les trous 1, bah, c'est normal, hein. C'est des vis. Ailette, ailette. Alors, évite de spam le chat parce que le robot va te bloquer, en fait. Tu seras mute. Laura, tu vas être mute. Laura, stop. Tu seras mute, sinon tu pourras plus parler. J'avoue que... Ok, ça va, je me calme. Gillette. Gillette. Non, Ailette, pas Gillette. Non mais Amina. Sérieusement, c'est pas possible. Donc là, avec du coup, bah, il y a le soleil qui commence à être de plus en plus en haut. On commence à voir bah, les détails bah, des panneaux solaires. Petite capsule. Gillette. Laura, pas de spam. Laura, tu seras bloqué. Laura, tu seras bloqué. Amina, ne commence pas, vous serez bloqué. Amina, Laura, vous serez mute par le robot. Ah oui, mince. Bah oui, surtout que je peux rien faire en plus. C'est pas moi qui décide, bah c'est YouTube. J'ai calmé. Amina. Donc la prochaine étape, l'ouverture du sas. Amina. Amina. Stop. Je serai bloqué. Okay. Non mais en fait, Amina, même si tu changes de mot, ça ne sert à rien. Parce que il compte le nombre bah, de commentaires bah, que tu publies. Donc peu importe ce que tu publies, ça va rien changer. Arrêtez de spam le chat. mince, bah oui, c'est pour ça que je vous dis cut. C'est pour ça que je vous dis d'arrêter de spam le chat. Parce que sinon vous ne pourrez plus parler pendant 1 minute. Par contre, c'est nul qu'on n'ait pas vu, qu'il n'y ait pas Elon Musk. Je sais pas s'il viendra pour le docking, ça m'étonnerait. J'aimerais bien en tout cas. Parce qu'en plus, il s'est fait une petite crête de punk là. Parfait. C'est parfait. C'est moi qui ai coupé le son ou alors il ne parle plus? Non, non, c'est eux qui ne parlent plus. Ouais. Mais tout le monde aime les sushis. Qui n'aime pas ça? C'est long, 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 c'est long. Donc là vous pouvez voir sous les pieds la terre. Je sais que j'ai confondu Enzo et le mec. Je sais pas qui c'est mais... Laura. Ah mais j'arrête pas de taper le micro. Quentin, je l'appelle Enzo. C'est qui Quentin? Bah non mais Amina, Quentin. Non mais attends, mais même moi je le connais. Enfin, si c'est du même qu'on parle. Encore là. Mais franchement, cette vue-là, elle est magnifique. On dirait une photo. Mais ce n'est pas une photo. C'est une vidéo. Ah non, c'est pas le même. Ah d'accord, je croyais que c'était le même. Non mais Amina, pas sur mon live. Pas sur un live spatial. Je commence à avoir faim moi par contre. Ouais. Je vais lui faire du bouche à bouche après. Oh là là. Mais vous. Moi aussi. Non mais parlez à Quentin. Enfin, de Quentin, je crois. Ah oui, non, 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 je viens de comprendre. D'accord. Ah bah c'est pas très Covid. Tu veux faire du bouche à bouche. Quand j'ai dit moi aussi, c'est parce que j'ai faim. Bah alors Amina, ça nous cache des choses avec Lola. Donc là vous pouvez voir les ailettes. Hein, les ailettes. Et là vous pouvez voir toutes les ailettes. Je me disais aussi ailettes. Ailettes. Non Laura. Laura Amina. Faut m'énerver. Je vous jure, hein, je vais activer le mode lent. Hein. Vous ne pourrez même plus pas faire ça. toi si tu nous as relancé avec les ailettes. Bon, vous savez quoi? Oula, oula, le truc qui s'affole. Non, c'est là. Bon, et on peut voir tout vos commentaires. C'est où? C'est où que j'active le mode lent? Genre lent. Non. J'avoue, c'est toi. Il fait quoi là? J'active le mode lent sur le chat. C'est où déjà? Je sais plus où c'est. Non, je vais pas désactiver le chat. Vision de lecture. Non.
SpaceX Endeavour for some reports on 4.400 when you're ready.
Ok, donc là il leur demande.
SpaceX is ready to copy for 4.400.
Okay, for tablet percentage MS177, CDR 84, PLT 87,
Les filles,
MS279.
vous voulez que je le fasse?
Alright, SpaceX copies, reading back, tablet powers is MS177, CDR is 84, PLT is 87, and MS2 is 79.
Good readback.
Non, je peux pas le faire. Oh, cette vue elle est magnifique là par contre. Cette vue elle est parfaite. Mais ça encore, c'est une caméra qu'a mis la NASA juste pour nous, hein, parce que voir la Terre, eux, ça leur sert strictement à rien. Et ça, donc ça c'est juste pour nous. Et ça, on est d'accord que cette vue là elle est magnifique. Profitez de la vue. Oui, voilà, elle est magnifique. Avec des petits nuages. Enfin, des gros nuages, là, parce que là, ils sont quand même assez grands. Hein. Ou alors c'est des montagnes, ou alors c'est les deux. Ah oui, non, il y a des montagnes et des nuages. Là, on peut voir des montagnes et des nuages. J'ai envie de tomber dedans. Alors en fait, si tu tombes dans les nuages, depuis l'ISS, tu vas un peu brûler à 8000 degrés. Hein. 8000 degrés. À plus de 1000 degrés. Hein. Donc en fait, tu vas juste... bah même ta cendre va brûler. Mon live bug. Ah, on a perdu l'image avec l'ISS. On a un blue screen. Ah, on a un noir screen. Ah, c'est bon. C'est rien, c'est la rue. Non, c'est la poussière là. Parce que là, tu seras... Bon, non, tu seras même pas de la poussière, tu seras juste vaporisé en fait. J'avoue qu'on dirait un peu du coton. Très joli. Donc là, attendez qu'on voit d'autres montagnes. Je ne sais absolument pas où on est. Est-ce que vous voulez que je vous dise où est l'ISS? c'est assez lent. Par contre là, je ne sais pas ce qu'on voit, je ne sais pas ce que c'est le truc. De l'ange. Ah, il ferait mal là. Attends au moins qu'on soit au-dessus de l'eau pour sauter, voyons. Attends, on est presque au-dessus de l'eau. On peut voir des petites îles. Je croyais qu'on était au-dessus du Japon. Hein. Non, d'accord, bon, d'accord. Là c'est bon, tu peux sauter, vas-y, saute. Saute, vas-y.
Station Houston on 2, we've had a good vestibule pressurization and leak check. You are go to pick up an ingress part 2, step 3.
Ok, donc ils sont en train de voir si je veux de la neige. Bah les...
Hi, that's great news. Picking up in part 2, step 3 for ingress, thanks.
Ok, donc là ils sont en train de vérifier si c'est bien pressurisé. Bah là, de la neige, on est au-dessus de l'eau. Hein. Donc ça risque d'être compliqué. Hein. Dans les montagnes. Ah, perdu la connexion. Bah pour ça il faut trouver la montagne en fait. Yes. Vous pouvez actuellement voir que j'ai une connexion dingue.
Yes. You are watching the live broadcast to Crew and Ingress onto the space station. And what you're looking at on your screen is Crew Dragon Endeavour docked to the International Space Station. We are hearing some call-outs as they're walking through some procedures.
Et le truc qui sort là derrière, c'est un panneau solaire.
Again, this process does take a bit of time.
Bah, rebonne nuit à toi du coup.
So if you're just joining us, the Dragon itself is attached to the International Space Station. The crew inside, namely Victor Glover, is making incremental steps to open up the hatches between the International Space Station and the Dragon itself. Glover waited for thermal equalization of the vestibule in between each of the hatches, the station side and the Dragon side. After thermal equalization, he brought it up to about 5 pounds per square inch, performed a leak check, and everything looked good, so he proceeded to increase the vestibule pressure to equalize with the International Space Station's pressure.
Donc là, ils sont en train d'égaliser la pression avec celle de l'ISS.
And after a few checks, Glover will be given the go to open up the station side hatch, the A-pass hatch. Once that's open, he'll be able to see the Crew-2 astronauts inside the Dragon Endeavour. There's a small window on the Dragon hatch that he'll be able to see them. And his main job before opening up that hatch will be configuring the station side hatch. That hatch is configured with a docking target. It's a small rod with an X on the end. that provided guidance for the Dragon during its approach to dock with the International Space Station. He'll remove that docking target and provide some padding to allow the safe entry into the International Space Station for the Crew-2 astronauts.
A tout de suite, tout le monde, je coupe mon micro. Pardon, au revoir tout le monde.
Victor Glover is one of the NASA astronauts that flew on Crew-1 about 6 months ago. So he is the one preparing Crew-2's arrival. This is Victor's first mission on the International Space Station and first time that he has been to space, so it's pretty cool that he gets to welcome the Crew-2 team and help get them on board the space station.
And Station Houston on 2 for Node 2 video.
Go.
Yeah, we were wondering if we could get permission to come on board in Node 2.
You're welcome. Please come on board.
Okay, and we'll need the high-def camera powered on.
All right, so we've been very lucky with some of the external views here. This coming from a camera on the Japanese exposed facility pointing at the forward end of the International Space Station where the Dragon is currently docked. Crew Dragon Endeavour. Very shortly, with permission from Victor Glover, we should be getting some views from the inside of the International Space Station and seeing what Victor Glover is up to. He's at the forward end, inside the pressurized mating adapter, going through his procedures to configure the APAS hatch, getting it ready to open. We did hear confirmation earlier that the vestibule is pressurized between the two hatches, those hatches being the station hatch and the Dragon hatch.
Looks like we got that live view on the station.
I think that's Soichi Noguchi on board the International Space Station. Colonel Mike Hopkins, NASA astronaut and commander of the Crew-1 Dragon Resilience, coming into frame as well. There are 7 crew members currently aboard the International Space Station, not counting the Crew-2 astronauts who are on the other side of that hatch. Once that hatch is open, there will be 11 crew members on board the International Space Station. sort of forget that you don't really need to be in an upright position to work from this orientation. We're looking sort of in an upright position. If you look down or nadir from this position, you would go straight down towards the earth, but you can see clearly Soichi Noguchi upside down. Mike Hopkins was just upside down. You don't really need to be in a particular orientation to work.
Coming into frame, that is Victor Glover.
And there's Mark Vande Hei from NASA, who arrived earlier this month on the Soyuz MS-18 rocket launching from Kazakhstan, with 2 Russian cosmonauts, Oleg Novitsky and Pyotr Dubrov. They'll be joining for the welcome ceremony to welcome the Crew-2 astronauts aboard as well.
Another thing to point out, you could see that each of them are just wearing socks. Don't really need shoes to be on the space station, since they're not really walking anywhere. They're floating around.
Yeah, they use their hands really to propel themselves from module to module, but their feet, you can see some of the blue handrails situated around the International Space Station. Ooh, there's a good shot of how astronauts typically use those handrails. They'll wrap their feet underneath them to stabilize them. Looks like the pressurized mating adapter is used for some stowage, so there's looks like Noguchi and Glover are reconfiguring some of the stowed items to allow some room to open up the A-Pass hatch, the hatch on the International Space Station side, and provide a pathway for the Crew-2 astronauts to come through the hatch to be welcomed in Node 2. So again, the vestibule is pressurized between the Dragon hatch and the station hatch. You can see Noguchi working on the station hatch. His next procedure is to go ahead and open it. And you can see, confirmed, A-Pass hatch is open. Noguchi taking some initial photographs. Part of the procedures will be to survey the hatch itself, inspect for any foreign object debris.
Houston Station, big loop, A-Pass hatch open, and that's dry, and seals are clean.
And Houston copies, and you can continue in step 4.
Dragon SpaceX for procedure 4.400.
SpaceX.
All right, Shane. When you're ready with that A-Pass hatch call, that does unblock us to go into section 5 of 4.400 when we get there. Additionally, when you're ready, we are ready to collect inventory in section 3.
Okay, inventory coming to you, and we're ready for section 5 after that.
SpaceX copies, thanks.
Hey, Arthur, Thomas for the inventory. So just quickly compared to what I reported prior, the only delta is 2 bottles from location, from bag 204 in location 9. All the rest is as per our previous report. So I'm not sure you need all the details of what's remaining, because I kind of gave the detail of what we've consumed from the food locations. I can give you the details, it's your call.
SpaceX copies. If there's no delta from your previous report, we don't need it, but I will read back. That was 4 bottles from bag 204.
Two bottles, Archer, 2.
Copy that. 2 bottles from 204. Last question for section 5 of 4.400. Does that 2 bottle include the additional bottle that will be used in step 5.1, or will we require an additional bottle?
I know it's a good question, Arthur, and we're working on this, so you can add another bottle for this section, and we'll grab it from 206.
All right, SpaceX copies. Thanks, Thomas. We'll take 1 bottle from 206. And Thomas, SpaceX, last question. Can you confirm no food deltas from previous report, or did you also consume midday meals for today?
No, we didn't consume anything. The latest last food consumption was the one I reported before.
All right, copy. Thank you.
All right, you just heard the core here in Mission Control Hawthorne communicating with the crew on the inside of the Dragon. They're behind this camera view that you're seeing here. This is the center line camera of Crew Dragon Endeavour. You're getting a look at Soichi Noguchi as he outfits the A-Pass hatch, getting ready for the astronauts inside Endeavour to come through the hatch. The hatch to Dragon is still closed as Noguchi continues to outfit that A-Pass hatch. He took some photographs upon entering into the vestibule that you see here, and took some photographs to survey the A-Pass hatch, make sure the seals look good, reported that they all looked good, so he's continuing with the procedures to attach some pads and remove the docking rod from the center of the A-Pass hatch. A-Pass standing for Androgynous Peripheral Assembly System. It's just the hatch on the station side, the last one until you get to the Dragon hatch.
Dragon SpaceX, question on procedure 4.012, suit doffing.
Go ahead, SpaceX.
All right, Shane, just wanted to follow up. We wanted to confirm that all 4 suits are drying, and then when ready, when we can come back on board.
All 4 suits are drying. Some of them have been drying for an hour already, and you are welcome to come back on board.
Copy that, Thomas. Thank you.
Very cool. Got some words that we might get some camera views inside of Crew Dragon with the Crew-2 team already doffed their suits. They're confirming that their suits are drying as they are waiting for ingress on the International Space Station. What you're seeing on your screen is Soichi Noguchi getting this vestibule area set up for the Crew-2 ingress prior to opening the Crew Dragon hatch. Once that hatch is open, the crew will not immediately ingress onto the space station. They do need to follow a few more procedures just to make sure that everything is good to go before they ingress on the space station.
So you see some of the padding that's needed to outfit that A-pass hatch. He's just wrapping it around the metal structure that is the station side hatch. He'll do this to completion. On the other end, we'll hopefully be getting some views from the inside of the Dragon cabin and seeing both perspectives from the Dragon side.
Dragon SpaceX for awareness. Cameras are back on board.
Thanks. Welcome on board.
All right. We'll hopefully get those views inside Dragon soon. Meanwhile, Soichi Noguchi continuing to outfit the hatch. Again, this is one of those steps to get all of the hatches open in between Dragon and the International Space Station. Now getting views from inside Dragon. The crew have doffed or taken off their suits. And so now they're dressed and ready for the welcome ceremony. Once they get on board, we'll have some hugs and they'll have a chance to talk with some of their crewmates before getting in front of the camera to officially welcome the Crew-2 astronauts aboard the International Space Station, an orbiting complex that will support a crew of 11 until Wednesday the 28th is the planned undocking time for the Crew-1 astronauts, Soichi Noguchi, currently one of those astronauts that will be departing, along with 3 American astronauts, including Shane Kim, Mike Hopkins, Shannon Walker, and Victor Glover. All right, looks like Noguchi has that A-pass hatch wrapped. You can see just above him, he used a series of padding and blankets to wrap the metal structure that is the station side hatch, and now he's inside the vestibule. See some of the tubes he's bringing in the vestibule section that are peeking through towards us on the pressurized mating adapter side. That'll allow the circulation of some of the air from the station side and remove any carbon pockets that may appear in the environment of the space station. So we're a little more than an hour and a half removed from the docking, the official docking
Houston,
time.
Hawthorne Endeavour Station is ready for Dragon Hatch equalization.
Houston, copy.
Eh bien bonjour, je suis de retour, voilà, après avoir mangé. Donc là on voit que ça a bougé.
Endeavour copies. Endeavour copies.
Là on peut voir actuellement qu'ils vont bientôt rentrer.
That's astronaut Mark Van High coming in to help out. The crew on both sides getting confirmation. The next steps underway to get that other hatch open. There's one more hatch. You see the station side hatch open at the back end of the pressurized mating adapter there. There's one more hatch, the Dragon on the Dragon side. And the crews on both ends are working through to open up that hatch and welcome the Crew-2 astronauts on board. Just going to stand by for a few minutes for pressure to equalize between the International Space Station and the Dragon hatch before go ahead and opening that final one.
And Endeavour Houston, can you confirm readiness for hatch equalization?
Endeavour's ready. Endeavour's ready.
Ok, donc là,
Okay, Station and Endeavour,
est prêt.
stand by for equalization. It's expected to take 5.5 minutes.
Station copy. Endeavour copies. Endeavour copies.
All right, so you heard that equalization time. A timer is set for about 5.5 minutes to allow that pressure to equalize between the pressure inside the environment of the International Space Station and the pressure inside the Dragon. That pressure has to be equalized within both spacecraft before the Dragon hatch is open, one of the steps to open up that final hatch.
Yeah.
So we'll just stand by as that equalization is underway. In the meantime, you can see in the pressurized mating adapter, Mark Van High currently moving some stowed items around, creating a clear pathway for the Crew-2 astronauts to enter the International Space Station once they head through the hatch, being assisted by Suichi Noguchi. We've also seen Victor Glover, who was primed for monitoring Crew Dragon's approach to the International Space Station.
Oula, qu'est-ce qui se passe? D'accord.
So it looks like Glover is resetting the camera position there.
Donc là, c'est Glover
That view provided a nice angle downward into the pressurized mating adapter to see some of the activities happening for opening up the hatches.
C'est la première fois qu'il vole
Now
dans
Glover's
la
just
station
getting that
spatiale
camera set up
internationale.
for the
C'est son
next
premier vol.
activity, which will
Il
be
n'a
a
jamais
welcome
volé
ceremony.
ni sur navette ni sur Soyuz.
Putting it in a good position to frame or allow to frame 11 astronauts to squeeze into that shot. I think that'll be a impressive feat by itself.
Yeah, that is quite a bit of people, especially for the International Space Station. But it'll be really cool to see them all together.
Donc là aussi, là,
so right now it's looking like the procedures to undergo opening up the hatch. Again, we're still waiting for pressure to equalize between the space station and the Dragon itself before opening up that hatch. But it seems like we're on a good timeline to start a welcome ceremony on time. That's expected to begin at 4:45 a.m. Pacific. Should be 7:45 a.m. Eastern.
Donc là, il ne devrait pas tarder à sortir. Il finit juste l'égalisation entre l'ISS et le Crew Dragon et ça devrait être bon. Donc là du coup on peut voir que la porte à droite c'est le module Columbus et la porte donc à gauche ici là c'est vers Kibo et au dessus c'est Crew-1. Donc là on voit le non j'ai cru que c'était le commandant. Ah non là lui là c'est le commandant. J'ai aussi oublié pas son nom mais c'est le commandant de Crew-1. Là, on peut voir au fond, ça, c'est Crew-2.
Gathered inside Node 2 now, you see over to the left is NASA astronaut Mark Vande Hei. Going from left to right, we have Crew Dragon Resilience Commander Mike Hopkins, followed by Soichi Noguchi and International Space Station Commander and NASA astronaut Shannon Walker.
On peut voir que leurs chemises sont très belles hein, quand même. Avec ces petites chaussettes rayées.
How do you fit 11 people on camera? That's what we want to know.
And that's what it looked like they were trying to figure out. Trying to get into position to see probably where that camera should be and where they should be facing.
Car les autres travaillent et vont venir juste pour la photo.
All right, we'll get periodic handovers from the views we were seeing on board the International Space Station as well as Dragon. The views being provided through tracking and data relay satellites, geosynchronous satellites that provide that video feed from the International Space Station. Right now you're looking at mission control in Hawthorne, flight controllers looking after the Dragon Endeavour and its systems. Dragon will be configured for a long duration stay aboard the International Space Station, eventually being configured for a quiescent mode. Will remain there for 6 months with periodic checks, of course, to check on the status and health of the spacecraft itself before it departs 6 months down the road.
Ça, j'avoue que c'est pas très intéressant de voir des gens juste fixer leurs écrans.
And Endeavour and station, hatch equalization has started. 5.5 minutes wait time.
Ok, donc l'égalisation a commencé. Elle vient seulement de commencer.
Endeavour copies. Station copies.
All right, so the pressure the equalization process has been started between the International Space Station and Crew Dragon Endeavour. The clock starts 5.5 minutes. After that clock runs out, the teams will verify that the hatch is good to open between the Dragon and the International Space Station. We're still tracking to start the welcome ceremony at 4:45 a.m. Pacific time, 7:45 a.m. Eastern. We'll hopefully get to see the crew in early, but they'll be able to do some hugs, get settled, and then get in position to start the welcome ceremony. We'll keep you up to date if that time does change, but it seems we're looking good so far for the Endeavour crew to enter into the International Space Station.
Looks like we got that live view back on the International Space Station where they are preparing for the Crew-2 to ingress and getting set up for that welcome ceremony.
Il y a même une personne en plus d'ailleurs.
You can kind of see them all coordinating with each other on where the cameras need to be and where they want to do this welcome ceremony.
Sont des personnes de Crew-1. Donc il y en a une ici, là, une là, une là, une là, pas lui.
Currently waiting for equalization of pressure between the International Space Station and Crew Dragon prior to opening that hatch on the Crew Dragon.
Donc là, Clover va faire des photos pour montrer à la NASA va commencer. Voir s'ils ont bien tout fait ou pas.
So again, we're in the middle of a 5.5 minute timer as equalization is underway between the pressure inside the International Space Station and pressure inside the Crew Dragon Endeavour. So we'll just wait on the status after that 5.5 minute timer and the OK to open up the Dragon hatch. It may be some time after the Dragon hatch is open until the Crew-2 astronauts enter into the International Space Station. But we're tracking a welcome ceremony to formally begin as of now in 45 minutes. Keep you up to date in case that changes.
Donc là on voit juste derrière le japonais de Crew-1 du coup qui vérifie, je pense.
Looks like we just have a different camera view on the International Space Station. That is JAXA astronaut Soichi Noguchi that you see in the frame right now.
Preparations happening on both sides. We're mostly getting views from the International Space Station side, but the Crew-2 astronauts are inside the Crew Dragon capsule getting configured. Because once they enter through the hatch, they'll join the 7-member crew of Expedition 65 that's currently aboard the International Space Station and conduct a welcome ceremony. We'll see some hugs and shared camaraderie among the Expedition 65 crew for a little bit, and then formally welcome them to the to Expedition 65 aboard the space station.
Dragon SpaceX for 4.400.
Go ahead, SpaceX, on Dragon to ground.
Hey Shane, just looking for confirmation of completion of Section 5 of 4.400.
Section 5 is complete.
SpaceX copies, thanks. And additionally, last check is completion of procedure 4.012, suit doffing.
Yeah, sorry, we didn't let you know that. 4.012 is complete.
Much appreciated. Thank you, Shane.
All right, a few checks from the crew operations and resource engineer.
Dragon SpaceX on the big loop for hatch open.
Donc là, ils vont pas tarder à ouvrir.
Go ahead for hatch open on the big loop.
All right, Dragon, you are go for hatch opening per the decal on the hatch, followed by the remaining actions in procedure 4.400, section 6.
Okay, that's in order.
Ok, donc là ils sont prêts pour l'ouverture.
Good words that they got the go for opening the Dragon hatch.
It's fantastic news. We can kind of see the hatch from this angle. Hopefully it remains unobstructed. We may be able to see the...
Oh,
yep,
yes.
you can see the handles moving a little bit. Yes, there it goes.
Regardez, il commence à s'ouvrir.
Again, this is being opened from the interior side of the Crew Dragon vehicle. This is the Crew-2 crew performing this work right now. It looks like the crew on station is getting excited, peeking in.
I can feel the energy for sure.
Je vois qu'ils sont tous très excités. Allez, attention.
All right, Dragon hatch is open.
Et donc là, on voit à l'écran Thomas Pesquet.
A bunch of smiles.
Leurs bleus qui sont très jolis quand même.
All right, that Dragon hatch, the final hatch that we've been waiting for since Endeavour docked to the International Space Station 2 hours ago, 2:08 a.m. Pacific. 4:05 a.m. Pacific is the time that Dragon hatch was open. already seeing some smiles.
So again, as we mentioned, the Dragon hatch is open, but the Crew-2 members still need to finish walking through some remaining procedures before they can ingress onto the space station, including photos. It looks like.
Donc là, ils font une petite photo dans leur capsule qu'on devrait avoir sur Internet dans pas trop longtemps.
The crew posing for some pictures there.
On the big loop, hatch is open.
SpaceX copies on the big loop. Hatch is open.
All right, again, the hatch was open at 4:05 a.m. Pacific. The space station and Dragon flying together in unison. Attached, Endeavour attached at the forward port. Those vehicles were 267 statute miles over the South Pacific to the east of New Zealand.
SpaceX Endeavour, 4.400 complete.
SpaceX copies. 4.400 is complete.
Là, ils sont en train d'installer la ventilation pour le vaisseau. Donc non.
So as a reminder, even though the Dragon hatch is open, it still may be a couple of minutes until the crew Dragon Endeavour astronauts actually ingress or enter into the International Space Station to be welcomed by all of the expedition's 65 crew members currently aboard, who are eagerly awaiting them to come on board their new home, the International Space Station, for the next 6 months. There's a couple of procedures. You see some of the air ducts.
And Houston Dragon in 2.102, step 6.1 IMV duct installation complete. You are go for IMV fan activation.
Donc là, c'est Thomas Pesquet qu'on entend.
Houston copies. We'll put that in work.
Donc
Okay,
là,
yeah, so
on
some of those
attend,
procedures that are happening on the Dragon side. They're going to install some IMV ducting, mixing the air of the International Space Station environment with the air inside the Crew Dragon Endeavour. They're going to seal some of the LiO or lithium hydroxide cartridges that scrubbed carbon dioxide inside the Dragon capsule on the ride.
Voilà.
Up to the International
J'ai baissé un
Space
peu le son
Station.
parce que j'ai remarqué qu'on
Check
m'entend.
some vent valves, so it may be some time until we actually see them
que...
welcomed aboard. But just these last final checks are critical before they leave the
contre,
capsule that brought them up to the International Space Station. Make sure it's
cette
good
bareille
to go because it will remain docked here for the next 6 months.
Looks like the station side crew is ready and they're just waiting for the Crew-2 crew to ingress onto the space station here in a few minutes once they finish their procedures.
Donc au moins, ce qui est bien, c'est que Thomas Pesquet va retrouver son ami Oleg Novitsky qui ont volé ensemble lors de sa première mission. Donc là, à mon avis, le reste de l'équipage est derrière la caméra.
If you're just now joining us, the Crew-2 Dragon
Là, du coup, il ne
Endeavour
devrait pas tarder à sortir.
Space Station. We are just eagerly awaiting the crew on board Dragon.
Donc je rappelle la deuxième mission de Thomas Pesquet à bord de l'ISS. Et la troisième mission du commandant Shane Kimbrough, la deuxième mission de la copilote Megan MacArthur et la deuxième mission du japonais dont j'ai encore oublié le nom, désolé.
Meanwhile, in the frame now, you can see the four-person crew of Crew Dragon Resilience. From left to right, you have Victor Glover, Shannon Walker, Soichi Noguchi, and Mike Hopkins.
Et il s'amuse.
Soichi doing some flips for us.
That's right.
De toute façon, il est il est considéré un peu comme le rigolo du groupe. Hein. Il a été décrit par ses collègues lors du décollage comme quelqu'un de très rigolo qui fait pas beaucoup de blagues mais de très sérieux aussi.
This is the Crew-1 crew waiting to welcome the Crew-2 crew, whom they will hand the baton off to. They'll spend approximately 5 days with the Crew-2 astronauts as they do a handover prior to Crew-1 coming back to Earth as early as April 28th next week.
Endeavour Houston, you are go, and step 6.3.
You go, and 6.3 for Endeavour. 6.3 for Endeavour.
Got some communications from Houston to the Crew-2 members on board Dragon.
Donc là, il se prépare à la conférence.
Continuing with the next procedure. Again, they should be ingressing on the International Space Station here very shortly. Crew-1 crew hanging out on your screen there, waiting for Crew-2 to ingress.
Donc là, juste au-dessus d'eux, c'est le crew, hein. C'est leur vaisseau à eux là qu'on voit actuellement. Et ils vont rentrer du coup la semaine prochaine, mercredi prochain.
The crew of Endeavour just going through some last-minute checklists to make sure that Dragon Endeavour is configured properly before they leave it, which successfully carried them from the Kennedy Space Center in Florida to the International Space Station over the course of just a little more than 23 hours.
Donc là, ils disent qu'ils sont en train de bien vérifier, voir si le vaisseau est bien configuré pour le long séjour.
Coming into frame here, you see at the forefront of the frame is NASA astronaut Mark Vande Hei joining the Crew-1 astronauts. All of them currently members of Expedition 65. It's part of their mission to stay on board the International Space Station for a long-duration mission of science, maintenance, technology demonstrations, and upgrades.
Donc là, on peut voir du coup Oleg, qui est la personne avec qui Thomas a volé pour la première fois. Je me rappelle beaucoup.
If you're just now joining, you are watching the live broadcast for the Crew-2 mission. We are currently waiting upon the ingress of the Crew-2 astronauts onto the International Space Station. They have already docked. Both the A-Pass hatch and the Dragon hatch are open.
New to the frame on the left there is Roscosmos cosmonaut Oleg Novitsky. He was the commander of the MS-18 Soyuz spacecraft that made its way to the International Space Station earlier this month with NASA astronaut Mark Vande Hei. Also on board is Pyotr Dubrov, who hasn't been in front of the frame yet, but he'll be part of the welcome ceremony as part of the 11-member crew that makes up Expedition 65, currently aboard the space station.
Station Houston on 2 for scene and voice check for upcoming PIO event. We're good with the scene check if we could just get a voice check. And Shannon, we are not picking up any audio.
Ah, on n'a pas de son.
How about now? Having things on works better. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
And Shannon, we did hear you that time.
Ok, d'accord, c'est juste parce qu'elle elle n'avait pas allumé le micro. En effet, ça peut aider. Et on peut voir Glover en train de dormir. Enfin, qui vient de se réveiller.
And Shannon, can you give us another long count?
Sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Copy, thank you. We're checking. that's a good voice check.
And SpaceX Endeavour on space ground for LIO.
SpaceX is with you on space to ground for LIO.
We were trying to install the LIO with the bag cover. That is LIO 1. Oh, correction. Yeah, LIO 2. In the bag and in the non-active storage area. And while we were pushing in, it tore the bag. And it cut that bag pretty big. Would you like us to proceed with this or go without the bag?
Copy that.
Just to let you know, the seal is on that LIO cartridge too.
Copy that, Dragon. Just to read back, there's a tear in the LIO bag as a result of trying to insert into the LIO slot. Stand by, we're going to get you some forward actions.
Okay, copy. And we do have a camera pointing at it right now. It's a cargo
Je vais
camera.
voir tout de suite ce qui se passe si je retrouve.
Copy that, we see it, thanks.
Donc là, du coup, on voit Soshi Bonogoshi qui regarde ses photos qu'il a prises de la capsule en approche. Et bien sûr, les photos après seront transmises à la Terre. Et normalement, dans quelques jours, on aura des photos de l'arrivée de la capsule et de l'amarrage magnifique.
Dragon SpaceX, can you confirm if it is LIO cartridge 1 or LIO cartridge 2?
Yeah, the LIO cartridge 2 is in the bag. LIO cartridge 1 is secured in the active location with the seal on.
Donc au fond, on dirait on voit quelqu'un. Je sais pas trop dire qui c'est. Donc là, pour l'instant, ils sont toujours en train de suivre les procédures. Je croyais qu'il y avait un problème, mais non. Tout va bien. J'attendais qu'on... Ah non, j'ai cru que c'était le premier astronaute qui sortait, mais il ne devrait pas tarder à sortir.
Dragon SpaceX, we are going to have you stow that LiO cartridge without a bag. How copy?
Ah. On a perdu l'image avec l'ISS, comme d'habitude un petit peu. Parce que je crois qu'ils ont un tout petit souci avec un truc de stockage.
All right, for those of you joining, we're in a handover period with some of the tracking and data relay satellites, geosynchronous satellites that provide the video feeds we were seeing and enjoying from the International Space Station as we eagerly await the crew inside Endeavour to enter into the International Space Station. The Expedition 65 crew members, all 7 of them gathered inside of the station on the other end of the Dragon's hatch, eagerly awaiting for them to get inside. Flight controllers here in Mission Control Hawthorne just undergoing a series of checks, final steps really, for the astronauts inside Endeavour to undergo before they enter through the hatch and leave the capsule that brought them up to the International Space Station. Some of the LiO cartridges you're hearing are lithium hydroxide cartridges that scrub carbon dioxide from the environment of the Dragon Endeavour capsule. Now regaining some of those views.
Donc on voit Soshi Bonoguchi qui s'amuse encore. Un peu comme d'habitude.
Once the 4-person crew of Endeavour comes onto the International Space Station, there will officially be 11 crew members on board as part of Expedition 65. We're still on track to start a welcome ceremony here in a little less than 15 minutes. We'll have representatives.
Dragon SpaceX repeating a call. We did have a teacher's handover. Want to confirm that we will stow this cartridge without a LiO bag, but we just want to verify that the seals are secure on each side of the LiO.
Just to verify, seals are secure on both LiO cartridges 1 and 2.
SpaceX copies. Thank you.
And SpaceX, please let us know what to do with the bag itself.
Là, on a vu vite fait la main de Glover qui sortait d'en haut.
So from left to right inside the International Space
Et on peut voir dans le fond, je crois, Thomas Pesquet, je crois.
We do want to save this bag so we can look at the RIP in the future. Stand by, we're going to get you words on where to store it.
And Endeavour copies.
Crew of Endeavour still working through those last-minute procedures. Again, LiO cartridges or lithium hydroxide cartridges that scrub carbon dioxide from the environment of inside Crew Dragon Endeavour. You're getting live views from the International Space Station side. From left to right, we have Roscosmos cosmonaut Oleg Novitsky, followed by International Space Station Commander and NASA astronaut Shannon Walker. Coming down from the...
Donc là, on voit dans le fond le bras de Thomas Pesquet.
Stand by, Dragon. We are finding a good common bag to put it in for temporary stowage.
Okay, copy that. We'll just stow it for now.
Copy, Dragon. If possible, we can also put it in a trash bag in location 17. That would be bag 111.
Donc là en fait je n'ai pas parlé du module là où ils sont, mais ils sont dans le module harmonique qui s'appelle Node 1. Donc qui fait balayaison entre Columbus, Kibo et Crew-2 et les PA. Donc les PA qui sont les ports d'amarrage. Contre donc, la Crew-2 qu'on voit et au-dessus Crew-2.
Location 1-8, bag 111.
Je ne sais pas ce que Victor a ramené. C'est Victor Bandover. Shibanoguchi qui s'amuse encore une fois.
In this frame, all 7 crew members of Expedition 65 currently on board the station gathered to welcome the Crew-2 astronauts aboard Endeavour. On the top left is NASA astronaut Victor Glover. You see Soichi Noguchi in the foreground on the right there. On the far right is NASA astronaut Mark Vandehei. Mike Hopkins is just behind Soichi Noguchi there.
Alors,
and Roscosmos cosmonaut Pyotr Petrov is on the zenith or space-facing side, sort of the ceiling from this shot, all gathered and eagerly awaiting for the 4-person crew of Crew Dragon Endeavour to come on board.
Du coup, la cloche, en fait, c'est quand à chaque fois qu'il y a des nouveaux astronautes qui arrivent, ils mettent la cloche et la font sonner et il la tient parce que sinon ça volerait et ça risque de sonner pour rien. Du coup, dès que les astronautes sortiront, on aura 3 missions. Donc la mission des Russes, c'est MS je ne sais plus combien, Crew-1 et Crew-2, donc il y aura 11 personnes en tout, c'est la première fois qu'il y aura autant de personnes. Déjà sans Crew-2 on était à 11 personnes, d'habitude on est 6, donc une personne de plus. Donc ce qui est beaucoup. Heureusement on leur a envoyé des couchettes pour qu'ils puissent dormir. Parce que au tout début le commandant dormait dans la capsule. Mais là du coup il y a deux personnes qui vont dormir. Il y a 2 personnes qui vont dormir dans la capsule, donc le commandant et le copilote. Et jusqu'au retour de
eagerly await the Crew-2 astronauts to ingress on to the International Space Station. The Crew-2 crew is finishing some final procedures. Once they complete all of those procedures on board Crew Dragon, they should be able to ingress on the International Space Station. And once they ingress, there will be some welcoming hugs and smiles, and then we will have an official welcome ceremony.
It's been a long journey for the four-person crew of Endeavour. Took them 23 hours to make their way to dock to the International Space Station earlier this morning. That docking time at 2:08 a.m. Pacific. The Dragon hatch was opened at 4:05 a.m. Pacific. We're counting down to the Endeavour astronauts to enter into the International Space Station, and we'll begin a formal welcome ceremony to officially welcome Endeavour to the International Space Station, and we'll have representatives from the space agencies of the crew on board Endeavour, including NASA and the European Space Agency and the Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency, chiming in to congratulate the Crew-2 astronauts and the support teams that helped to get them to the orbiting laboratory today.
Station on 2, if anybody's opposed, we're going to progress with ingress.
Endeavour, welcome aboard. You are go to ingress.
Endeavour arriving.
Got some confirmation that the crew is go for ingress, and you can see Aki is the first to ingress onto the International Space Station.
And Gwyn.
And Gwyn.
Followed by Thomas Pesquet from the European Space
désolé,
Agency.
ils sont en train, donc là vous voyez...
Lots of hugs and smiles
oui, là, je
right now.
Donc là du coup vous voyez les astronautes en train d'arriver.
Megan MacArthur of Crew-2 is next, being welcomed by the Expedition 65 crew members, and Shane Kimbrough bringing up the rear.
Voilà, donc désolé. Mais là du coup vous voyez y a 11 personnes, donc Thomas Pesquet qui est devant avec le pôle noir.
The 11-person crew of Expedition 65 now together inside Node 2 of the International Space Station.
Ok là. Bon bah bien sûr, ils ont été testés et tout, voilà. Donc vous inquiétez pas, il ne risque rien.
Though we can't even hear audio in there, you could really feel the excitement just by the looks on their faces, the hugs that they're giving. Now they're getting ready for this official welcome ceremony.
Voilà. Donc là vous les voyez tous
you can see them getting into position.
Tous déplacés.
Let the Tetris game of fitting 11 crew members into a single frame begin.
Right.
Donc on peut voir
12.
Thomas Pesquet avec Soshi Manobushi et autre japonais, donc à chaque fois j'oublie le nom. Et donc, du coup Shane Kimbrough, du coup Thomas Pesquet et Megan MacArthur
Station, this is
Et
Houston. Are you ready
pour le
for the
reste de
event?
l'expédition à bord de la Station Spatiale Internationale.
Houston, this is Station. We are ready for the event.
Mr. Jursic, please call station for voice check.
Station, this is Steve Jursic. How do you hear me?
Donc là on voit actuellement l'image.
Steve, we have you loud and clear. Welcome to the International Space Station.
Donc là on a vu il y a quelques instants l'administrateur temporaire de la NASA.
Hey, man, it is awesome to see the 11 of you on station. It's incredible. Congratulations, Crew-2 on an amazing launch yesterday. Coming to Kennedy Space Center and watching launches never gets old. And seeing the pre-dawn launch yesterday was amazing. So congratulations. I also want to congratulate the NASA and SpaceX team for our third commercial crew mission in less than a year. A lot of firsts on this mission, including the first crew handover of commercial crew vehicle, and it was really cool during docking to see one Dragon docked on the Zenith port and the other Dragon coming in for docking. So it was amazing. April has been an amazing month and a really busy month for ISS, with Mark, Pieter, and Oleg launching to ISS. Kate and her Russian colleagues coming back. Crew-2 there, and now preparing for Crew-1 to come back. And I am really excited for all the research, technology development that is going to be able to be enabled on station with these regular crew rotations and having 4 crew up there consistently. It's not only important for advancing research technology development to benefit folks here on Earth, but also to prepare for Artemis and our return to the moon, and eventually preparing for human missions to Mars. So it's just an incredibly exciting time for ISS. You know, Shane, Megan, Aki, and Thomas, we thank Tomas. We thank you for everything you do for the agency, the country, and the world, and we look forward to an amazing expedition. Crew-1, you guys have had an amazing 6 months. Mike, Victor, Shannon, and Suichi, I've followed what you've done to upgrade the station and all the research and technology you've been able to accomplish. And just want to congratulate you on an amazing expedition. And we look forward to your return next week. So again, I'm just really excited for this new era for ISS and all that you all have and will be able to accomplish. So thank you.
Thank you, Steve. It is very exciting to have Crew-2 with us today, and so I'm not going to take up any time here. I'm just going to hand it over so we can get their thoughts.
Thanks, Shannon. Thanks, Steve. And on behalf of Crew-2, we are just so excited to be here. I'm very excited to be here. In some ways, it's been a long journey. In other ways, it's been a pretty quick one-year assignment flow. So it's taken a tremendous amount of work from a lot of different teams to get us here. We, of course, have our excellent training team at Johnson Space Center, also an outstanding training team from Hawthorne, and the entire ISS program and commercial crew program working together to get us here, of course, as well as along with our international partners. We're just really excited to be here and be part of this historic mission with the 2 Dragons on board, first reuse of a capsule, first reuse of a booster. It's just a tremendous achievement on behalf of our partner SpaceX, so I want to congratulate and thank them. And we're so excited to be here. We're ready to get to work. There's a lot of great science that I know we're going to be doing, and we're just excited to learn and get started. So thank you.
D'apprendre et de commencer. Donc là on va peut-être Thomas qui passe le micro, commandant Hugo Shenkin.
Hand it off to Kathy Leaders.
Thank you, Mr. Jursic. We now welcome Associate Administrator Kathy Leaders to provide remarks. Ms. Leaders, please call station for a voice check.
Station, hi, this is Kathy Leaders. Do you hear me?
Kathy, we have you loud and clear.
Wow, you know, I just don't. I think I could see Endeavour approaching station maybe one more time. You know, near and dear to my heart to see that going on. And you know, I think both Steve and Megan mentioned how amazing it was to see resilience there on the station. The folks, Crew-1 folks, and the other parts of the ISS team, Mark, and you guys had the best view, but it was really cool seeing it from here on Earth. Like Steve talked about, wow, this is, and Megan too, we talk a lot about this being, and exploration being a team sport, and this mission so far has really exemplified that. You know, with our commercial partner, SpaceX, with our international partners, and with Thomas and Aki, and obviously Megan, you and Shane, you know, holding up on the NASA side here, and then our commercial crew and ISS teams. Congratulations to all of you. It's just been an amazing, amazing mission, and I know you guys are going to be doing some really great things. I've been here watching the folks here on station waiting for you, and I know you guys will be having a lot of fun together over this direct handover period, and with all of you on board, it's going to be a lot of fun for you, and getting ready for Crew-1 to come home. So I just wanted to really, from the bottom of my heart, say thank you. Thanks to all of you. Thanks to the whole team, the international, the commercial, you folks there on the space station now today safely, and looking forward to, like Steve said, seeing your accomplishments over the next 6 months. Thanks again.
Thank you, Kathy. Really appreciate your support.
Thank you, Ms. Leaders. We now welcome JAXA President Dr. Yamakawa Hiroshi. Dr. Yamakawa, please call station for a voice check.
Station, this is Yamakawa Hiroshi from Tsukuba. How do you hear me?
Dr. Yamakawa, we hear you loud and clear.
Well, thank you, Aki. Well, congratulations to all. I watched yesterday's launch on TV and really feel relieved by your safe arrival to the station now. In this tough situation around the world, I believe you have brought courage and hope for all of us. It is a great pleasure not only for me but also for Japan that 2 Japanese astronauts, Aki and Soichi, have boarded the operational spacecraft of the Crew Dragon twice in a row. This represents the many years of close cooperation on the International Space Station. I'm so happy to see both of you with big smiles today. And I understand that Aki advocates teamwork for this long-term mission, which comes from your experience in rugby football. The ISS is a symbol of international cooperation around the world, and we are looking forward to seeing you work as a team, build a scrum with all of the crew members from NASA, ESA, and Russia on board, and keep scoring tries to maximize outcome during your mission. Soichi, we wish you a safe return to the Earth, and Aki, good luck and enjoy your stay in space. 野口さん、地球で待ってます。星出さん、これから半年間頑張ってください。Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. It's an honor to be part of this team. We have a 11-person scrum right here, and with 4 countries representing. It's really an honor and privilege to fly on Crew-2 Dragon and get here. Thank you to all the people that worked very, very hard to prepare us and the vehicle. We got here safely, and now it's time to work here on board the International Space Station. And we look forward to working with everyone around the world. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Yamakawa. We now welcome ESA Director General Joseph Ashbacher. Dr. Ashbacher, please call station for a voice check.
Station, this is Joseph Ashbacher. How do you hear me?
Hey, Joseph, we hear you loud and clear. Welcome to the space station.
Thank you, Thomas. This is really great to see you, that you and your crewmates have arrived safely on the space station. Greetings to all of you, 11 of you at the station, from all of us at ESA. It is really a fantastic effort to see you all so nicely grouped together in the group photo. I think the station needs expansion, seeing that you're all crowding together so nicely. On ESA, Thomas, we are all very, very proud of you and what you're doing for space, for Europe, for the Space Agency, also for France. You're extremely popular, as you know. We're all very proud of you, but of course we're also very proud of all the other colleagues which are next to you, because astronauts are so fascinating and they give so much inspiration to all of us. So this was the first launch of an ESA astronaut on a Crew Dragon. It was spectacular, and together with Philippe Baptiste, the newly elected CNES president, we have followed very closely from the suits up all the way to the orbital journey to the station, and now just recently, just a few minutes ago, the hatch opening, and this was really so exciting and really fantastic. It has been, I think, a long day for all of you, but you all look extremely in good shape and in good spirits. You're all smiling. This is really fantastic to see down here from Earth. But ESA is really very happy to see your assignment, Thomas, towards the end of the mission as the ISS commander. And I really would like to take this opportunity to thank the partners of the space station for this honor to give to Thomas, which certainly is a sign and a recognition of his quality and also his personal quality, but of course engineering and technical qualities to be the commander of the station, and also recognition for ESA as being a strong partner and supporter of the space station all the way. So I know that you have a long and very intense training period behind you, and you're all set to go. There's a lot ahead of you. Hundreds of experiments are waiting, and all of you will be kept extremely busy, but we all look forward to see the results of these experiments. So Thomas, really very best wishes from all of us. Good luck and bonne chance.
Hey, thanks, Joseph. It's really unbelievable to be here on Space Station. Space Station has changed quite a bit since last time I was here. I've never seen so many astronauts on board. I've never seen so many different spacecrafts on board, and I think it's a tribute to how strong the program is going. I want to echo what Megan has said. It took a lot of effort from all kinds of people, you know, from the highest manager to all kinds of support persons to bring us here. So we want to thank all of them. And I want to say a few words about international cooperation. You said a lot, but it's been 20 years since it's been 20 years. Actually, Shane's line, I learned it from Shane. It's 20 years since JAXA and ESA and NASA and Russian astronaut have been together in space. So it's actually pretty historic what's happening today. We can't wait to start our work on the space station. We can't wait to see what's ahead on the adventure for us. In those 5 months, we're so happy to see our friends. We're going to have to say goodbye to them soon. We wish we could keep them a little bit longer, but not too long as well, because 11 people is a lot on space station. But yeah, it's good to be here. Really, we're impatient, and it's going to be unbelievable. I want to say a few words in French. Je voudrais surtout remercier tous les gens qui ont travaillé sur cette mission en français, et puis un petit mot pour les familles et les amis qui sont déplacés jusqu'à Cap Canaveral. Ça n'a pas été un voyage facile. En tout cas, ça m'a vraiment fait chaud au cœur de les avoir avec moi. Donc je voulais les saluer un peu particulièrement. Voilà. Merci à tous. All right, go ahead and
Station, this is Houston ACR. That concludes the event. Thank you.
Thank you, Acting Administrator Jersic, Associate Administrator Leaders, Dr. Yamakawa, and Dr. Ashbacher for your participation in the Crew-2 welcome ceremony. Station, we are now resuming operational audio communications.
Et donc, et ben voilà, c'est la fin de ce live avec Thomas qui a clôturé avec un petit mot pour ses proches, et tous les gens de l'ESA et du CNES qui a clôturé cet événement cet événement de bienvenue. Donc moi je vais arrêter ce live ici. Et j'espère que ces deux lives vous auront plu. Pour ma part, oui.
Wow, what an incredible morning, Gary.
Donc, pour eux, leur live va continuer, mais après, voilà. Donc, du coup, j'espère que ça vous aura plu. Du coup, je ferai un live pour la rentrée de Crew-2 qui sera mercredi prochain ou mercredi qui arrive, je ne sais plus trop. Il faut que je voie ça, mais de toute façon, un live sera préparé pour leur entrée, pour leur undocking et pour l'entrée atmosphérique. Donc voilà, donc restez en contact. N'hésitez pas à vous abonner et à activer les notifications. Et du coup, on se revoit très bientôt. Du coup, faut pas arrêter, voilà. On se retrouve très bientôt. J'espère que ce live vous aura plu.